there's 2 points of value, I think, traditionally in women. And some people might call this red pill talking points. I don't care. I just want to put that out there. Right. The first point is that if a woman can give a man children, right, there's some societal value in that. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. Okay. The second component is the woman's purity, right? Statistically, like back in the old days, men wanted paternal guarantee, right? You can't have that with a woman that's promiscuous. And it's kind of something that's built in, like anthropologically, to men to have this kind of like understanding that a woman who isn't promiscuous, you're more so guaranteed paternity. So I
I
think
don't think
that's
that's
kind of,
true.
well, you're welcome to disagree, Mel, but that's just where I see it.
Well, that's an
Yeah, so
outdated
I would
argument.
say I could make an argument that women actually increase their value by gaining sexual experience.
Wrong.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Well,
I mean, we can look around and we can say that that's just generally that's not the case, right? Women higher body
Really? So
count.
like someone who's inexperienced in bed would not be as valuable as someone who is more experienced in bed.
I guarantee. Okay, we can ask the chat right now. Put a 1 in the chat if you'd rather have a slut, and put a 2 in the chat if you'd rather have.
I mean,
a
most
virgin.
people in
If
chat
you're
have a
only
weird
two
obsession with virgins, so that doesn't.
Okay,
really tell
well,
us
I mean,
much.
I don't know what sample size you want
While we are taking the poll of 1s for sluts, 2s
to
for
give. One slut, two
non-sluts,
virgin.
I'm
No,
going
virgin,
to.
not even
I
non-slut, all the way virgin. Complete extremes.
I want to read. Bane Bear sent another $15 just to say, Sarah, hope your night is going well. And just cause I support what I like, thanks to you, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And James with the big 5, also on panel, says, I think men who don't care about women's body count tend to have more laxed morals, higher bodies themselves, and or are marketing / virtue signaling. I think men who don't
True.
care about bodies, women's bodies, tend to have lax
So my
morals.
question is, do
Okay.
men lose value when they have more sex?
No.
I think that might be the case, but you have to remember there's
Do
two
men
things
lose
there.
value when they have more sex?
Well, who's
They
who's
gain
talking? What's your name? How can I address you? You're a floating voice in my head.
Oh, sorry.
It's because she never takes down the comments.
I'm getting there. I'm
What
trying
is your
to
name,
do
good
something right
sir?
now.
That's Mel.
Mel. Okay, Mel. The problem is you also have to take into consideration how men feel about it. Whether it's subjective or objective is not necessarily relevant. So a man has two different strategies often. There's short-term fun, but then there's also a long-term plan. And a woman might fit on opposite ends of that plan. So of course a man can like a woman who's more sexually experienced, but he's probably never going to settle down with her. So a woman might be confused in thinking, even yourself might be confused in
They
thinking,
didn't really
wait,
answer my question if men can lose value.
They typically gain value. It's not universal, but men gain value.
that's what I'm trying to explain.
But
The-
how?
the-
How is it like
on the
how
opposite
is it a
side,
double
there's a
standard?
subjective nature. So the
It
women,
is double standard.
the
It
women
doesn't-
don't care. That's what you don't get. Is the women don't tend to care about this. If anything, they want a man who has more.
No, I think they do.
experience.
I think that they do, but not in the same way that men do.
I don't want a man
Not
hoe.
different.
No.
I can explain this. The byproduct of
You
having
have theory that's based off of red
Hold
pill.
on, hold on. Let him finish.
so if I'm charismatic and I'm popular and I'm funny, I'm witty, I have charm, a byproduct of that is likely to be it's going to be easier for me to sleep with women.
Yeah.
So because of that, women tend to like those things, and they're going to be more forgiving of the fact that I have more bodies, because those types of traits are a bit harder to find when you're looking for them in a man.
And James, I just dropped
Doesn't the
your
same
link.
thing kind of apply to men
Hold on,
and how
Mel,
women look?
first. Hold on, Mel, for just a second.
Sorry.
James, I went ahead and
There's a
dropped
lag.
your link in the channel, in the chat too.
Oh, I
so
appreciate it.
if the mods want to continue to drop that later on, that's fine.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't realize you're a
So
dating
don't men
coach.
sort of do? Oh,
Yeah, I do some coaching on the side.
All
Interject.
right, so go ahead, Mel.
so don't men sort of do the same? Yeah, don't men sort of do the same thing with like, oh, this woman's really attractive, so I'm willing to put aside her body count.
Yes, they can do that, but it would be despite that. But it's just the problem is the disgust factor.
Well,
probably
it was
for-
also despite
Men are
what you
more
said for women and men.
possessive. Men are more possessive, I think, than women. Well, okay, maybe. Men are more territorial, and women are more,
Possessive.
for lack of
I've
a
seen
better
some
word,
territorial women.
status seeking. Right, like the I hate using the jargon, but the high value man concept
No, I
does tend to
you
come
don't
with.
think men are status seeking? Like men literally.
I don't
try
think
to achieve
any
more
man has
status.
I
ever
think
married-
status-
male status seeking does not require the
Who's-
woman,
Mel?
right?
Is it
Like
Mel?
he can have status based on career, money, value, like tangible items. Whereas, women,
Well, prior
we
to
find
feminism.
we find
Feminism
status
didn't change it.
via man. That's how I would kind of look at that.
Mel,
if you
Mel, could I ask
really
you a
wanted to
question?
remember it.
Well, doesn't feminism kind of equalize that though? Where like
No,
women now are
No,
no
it makes it
longer.
worse.
It was-
Mel,
have
who do
you
think
never
has-
met a woman,
They
dude?
can
More
also
than
have,
Bruh.
but now, but
Mel, who do you
have
think
that
has
for
who do you think
themselves
has more
without being a man
options,
to
men
do
or
it.
women, when it comes to mating options?
Women.
Women.
Okay, so if women have
wait,
more,
by what metric?
just
all of them?
Some of
just
that
by
$100
intake, by
they get.
intake.
It's easier for an ugly woman to get laid than it is a pretty man. Fact.
Mel, do you disagree with that? Yes or no?
I disagree with that. Well, I don't know. Actually, maybe I don't.
I actually do. Yeah.
So
Say-
so you
I
think that
I think
so,
like visual. I think physical appearance works in both sides for like letting people like giving up like what they otherwise might consider standards that they have for other people.
okay, well then who do you think is more sexually selective, men or women?
I think women are
women.
more sexual.
Yeah,
Sexually
women.
Okay,
selective,
if
yes,
women-
are more
if-
sexual.
If women are more sexually selective, wouldn't that stand to reason that women would have more options?
Yep.
Not if they're sluts, because if they're just
There
increasing
is-
their body
there
count,
is-
then
I
they're less
Exactly. So
well,
there's-
Mel,
wait, so
Mel,
hold on.
I will tell you from personal experience as a female, we have 110% more options. We have the ability to choose. Where we don't have as much selectivity or our options or the ability to choose is when it comes to establishing the relationship and harnessing the commitment. That is when the man obtains that power back.
Evan
But as
Lord's right
far
here.
as-
And,
I
and
love
Mel,
you, Evan
Isn't
Lord.
this just like a
Thank
lot of
you.
words though?
yeah, but Mel, to answer
Isn't
your
it just like
question,
a lot
because
of words though for like men think with their but wait, I just want to
Okay, go ahead,
clarify
go ahead,
something.
go
Like
ahead.
can we just explain this all with like men think with their dicks more?
Wrong.
no, well, you're asking a different question. I wanted to answer the initial question you asked. But
Okay,
that's
sorry,
what
I
was trying
didn't
to
mean
ask.
to do that.
So the reason why I brought up women having more options is because given that men have less options, by consequence, it stands to reason that men are going to be a little bit more desperate when it comes to picking a mate. So they might choose a mate that's less attractive on a multitude of scales, including body count. So that would answer your question as to why do men tend to forego or disregard that number? Is because they might be desperate or
So
less
why
secure.
wouldn't men wouldn't men value women who are less sexually selective more and like sluts?
Why wouldn't men value women more who are less selective?
Can I?
Because it shows the problem with the body count is it's not just the body count itself, it's also like a structure or a complex of other bad qualities. So if we have disloyalty, you have someone who's doesn't
That's not
treat
necessarily disloyal.
well, if I could just make the case real quick.
Yeah, like some
All right, well, if I
they
can
just
make
haven't
the
settled
case.
down with someone yet.
You want to answer the question?
Hold
or what?
on, Mel. Let him
Okay.
finish.
So disloyalty, someone who's not honest, someone who might be have a wandering eye, someone who's not faithful.
None of that
If-
shit.
So what's my argument, Dusty? What's my
You're
argument?
saying that they're all cheaters and they've got other bad qualities.
That's not
but-
what I'm saying.
Okay, disloyal, disfaithful,
Uh-huh.
wandering eye. You basically said they cheat in 4 different words.
So what is the argument I'm trying to make before you cut me off? What's the argument?
I don't know. Maybe if you were more concise about it, we'd know.
Well, maybe if we just chilled out for a little bit.
I am.
So what about men that run trains?
Bruh.
Hold on. Hold on.
I don't know.
That's a good question. That's a good. That's a good
Dusty, are you-
segue. I like that. Let's talk about that. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Can you,
even
James? Can you say it again, please?
Okay.
I was looking at other things.
disloyalty, unfaithfulness, someone who's very flippant with her relationships, and body count, they tend to be inversely related. So even if a woman has a low body count, but she still has all these bad traits, it'll still work the same way. It'll still have a similar disgust factor. Does that make sense?
It
Well-
does, but I disagree with it.
Well, where's the ick coming in if she has a low body?
It's-
Like, let's say she slept with 2 people, but
Because women are trophies, and the more people have passed that trophy around, the less valuable it is. Simple as that. It's simple turf.
right.
Well-
But he's saying
Only
they
if, like, you're a
still have-
possessive.
Hold on, just a second. He's still saying that. Correct me if I'm wrong, James. You're saying you could still have a low body count, but still have those bad values.
You could
Why do
still
you-
you can have a low value. You could have a low body count, but if you still show a lot of those values, it'll have the similar reaction to that man. So I'm saying oftentimes the body count isn't necessarily the number itself. It could be a placeholder for a multitude of things.
Mhm.
But it's not. That's what I'm saying. This
So,
is this.
yeah. Okay, so I was
this
kind
is,
of.
you're trying to justify something with by making it sound more reasonable than it is. No guy is sitting here going, "Oh no, she's got a high body count." That probably means that da 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 da. Right? It's visceral and it's automatic, and it's because it devalues her as a trophy.
Yeah, but there's things that you associate with it that you might have experienced. Is what I'm trying to explain.
No, I mean there's
Okay,
things.
he's-
that-
so
okay,
you mean to
here's-
tell me? So you mean to tell me a woman who has high body count isn't going to be more likely to cheat on you? And even if
I
you know what
actually
I'm saying?
yes, I think yes. I will
Well,
say
and
that. I think
gave
that
a
women.
number- I gave a number earlier.
Wouldn't
She
data?
could
Wouldn't
be-
data?
Hold on.
Wouldn't data
Hold on for a
disagree with
second. Hold on for just
Sorry.
a
I
second.
don't know what the data is.
Oh, hold on. So essentially, I gave a number earlier. If she slept with one new man for 10 years, and she started when she was 20, and now she's 30, that's still a 10 body count. And the chat voted that over 10 was still high, right? So I guess, but that's still monogamy. She's still being monogamous. Each year, she's dating somebody, getting to that point, sleeping with them, and then eventually breaks up. Whatever the case may
You
be.
can call it serial monogamy, though.
Serial monogamy, but she's still
there's-
monogamous.
Well, can I bring up something?
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of people forget that.
So I have a question for James, and I've been
We're
super
not-
patient.
Hold on. Bane Bear just
I was told to
asked.
hang on by the host, and I would like the host to.
Well, now
let me
you're hanging
reclaim my
on.
time.
Bane Bear, go ahead.
Thank you. I was saying, women are marketers, men are salesmen, and women control access to sex, and men control access to relationships. Women give up access to sex a lot more than we give up access to relationships, and that's a fact.
That makes sense.
I mean, I was monogamous. I was married. I had sex with one person, and I had 2 children by her. But
Then what?
she left. Stuff happens.
Too bad that.
My apologies, man.
Too
Did
bad
she
she wasn't
have-
forced to stay with you.
Did she have a high body count?
You know,
See, it doesn't always work out the way they
Yeah,
say it.
that's
works
anecdotal.
out. It
Yeah, but
anecdotal,
data
but
is
like
made up of anecdotes. That's
seriously.
Yeah, but like, would you
That
say
proves
that
right there that
would you
if
say
you
that the
have a-
poll that was taken was definitive that this maps onto all men in America?
I don't know.
is that the standard all men have to map onto?
No, it's just. I mean, the poll would probably be a little bit skewed here, given the demographic.
Okay, so our
of people
polls
who
are skewed. The anecdote is anecdotal, and what we're just going to go with.
So
James
at what point does the data? At what point do you count the data that's being pulled?
Well, if it agrees
Right.
with him
But
in his position,
The reason
then
why I
that's
bring it
good.
up, I'm not trying to be a stickler. It's just like let's just say you had a subscriber list of just Kamala supporters, and you ask like, what do you think about Trump? Think he's good or bad? You're obviously going to have a skewed data set. That's all I'm saying. The data set's a little skewed.
So I think that
I think our data set is actually
talk.
heavier. Sorry, I think
interrupting the
like,
beginning of your sentence with the middle.
our data set is probably heavier red pilled over here than anything. I think we're more right leaning, more Christian oriented, and more red pill oriented on this channel. I'd say that would be the bulk of who I entertain on the chat. So I think the data is coming from people that would generally agree with you. So maybe
Well,
it
I
is-
think 10 bodies is way too much. I think that's a lot of deep end. You cross the Rubicon after that.
Do you want a woman to be
How
submissive?
many bodies have you had? Have you had less than 10?
Why do I got to put my body count on the? when does it
Okay,
gotta do
so why
anything?
is it even?
Let's
a
just say
question?
I have 100. Let's just say I have 100. Let's just say I have 100.
Why
That's
is
the
it
bill.
even a question? No one should be asking. a
Because
woman's body
men's preferences are different than women's. Simple.
Can
as
we
that.
count.
can we
A man
touch on
should not
that?
be Asking about
You
that.
can touch on whatever you want.
Like that woman,
Ooh.
you should just accept her for who she is. And
I ain't gotta do
face value
nothing.
for where she is.
You're a
I
floating
don't
voice in
think,
my head.
okay,
You're not-
I
you're not-
don't think,
I'm not-
okay, let me
I'm
stop
not
you there.
crunching.
Let me stop you there. I don't think we should just be accepting people for who they are. If that is not the person you want to end up with, don't deal with them. go find the person that you do want. But in the process of getting there, don't worry about everybody else. Just go find what you want. We're so stuck in this concept of I have to sit and be mad at every other person that comes across instead of just going and having your focal point and go find what the fuck you want. It's not that hard. Let me get to some of these super chats, guys, and we'll come right back to you and we can pick that up again. Let's see.
Hey, on that note, I'm passing through everybody. I'm restreaming from Sarah's, but I'm going to pass through $5 to you right now to drop Mel.
You got 5 minutes in the back, Mel.
Really? That's tough. Mel, I was waiting for your question too.
She'll come back with it. Don't worry. She'll come back with it. She's pretty good at remembering where she left off. That's what she is good at. Jack with the big 5 says men have legitimate concerns about a woman sleeping around and are tired of being gaslit that a woman sleeping around doesn't speak of her character.
True.
Again, I want to know who
you're hold on. It's you're right in everything you think. I wouldn't want to gaslight you anymore. You poor guy, you poor victim of psychological warfare. Whatever you think is already right.
Smoking Auditor with the big 2 says, I'll pitch in to keep this guy around for a few. Smoking Auditor, it would not have worked to keep Coder back on because it was a full 100 boot. And you would have had to have paid a full 100, and we already granted him extra time. Jack says with a big 5, the only people who care about male slinging pipe are the people who choose to sleep with them. If you want to check men's sausage, go ahead. I deal with chicks.
Do you want to check mine?
I don't want to check yours.
Right.
Sean Wick enjoying their
change your mind.
Sean Wick enjoying their new membership. Enjoy. Jack says again, give women the right to be promiscuous. It's not going to hurt men. Men with values and principles will not choose them. The men who accept, is that hoax? Hose are the men that complain about it. Self-inflicted trauma. Agreed. Finally, I really can lock down that one. Yes, if you accept a hoe, you can't be mad at her for being a hoe.
I think it's the ones who didn't get hosed. I think it's the ones who couldn't pull hose, and then they're even more mad because this is a hoe, but she's not hoeing with me in my mom's basement. God damn it! Do you want to check my sausage yet?
I don't need to check it. I take your word that it's whatever you say. And Gesterol snuck in the big 50 with the conversation that happened earlier between Paige and Ryan and 10th Man, I believe it was. It was actually pretty comical. The chat praised you with W's for that one. Jack with the big 2. Damn.
Who got the W's?
Jess got the W's in the chat.
Is there something louder than
Huh?
Nothing. I was just
Jack coming in again with a big 2. Damn, men caring about body count is Flo's fault. Flo, it's all your fault. Everything is your fault.
Me for it. Put your sins on me.
Put them all on me. And for the record, there was about, I think there was almost 300 between the channels going. If you haven't hit the like button, subscribe, share, whatever, do your job. That part is free. Thank you. Jack with the big 2 says, and for the record, promiscuous women are needed. Oh, so now it's convenience.
Definitely not.
Hoes have never done me wrong. God bless them for their generosity, sir.
Lock them up.
James, did you have something to add to that?
No, I think somebody's talking smack in the chat though. They sent a super chat, so I'll wait for that.
All right. Levi Moonlight with a big 10. Absent religion, I hate the charade of men shouldn't want chaste women while they sleep around. Maybe if we actually cared about men's body count to the same extent, you could have an argument. This is why I say just go back to church, find your principles and values, and you'll figure it out from there, folks. I agree with you, Levi, that it should be kind of twofold. If you're going to seek out a woman that has a low body count, you better have the principles and values that match up with her and what made her have a low body count with those foundations beneath that. You better be able to align with those, or else you're useless to her. She doesn't want anything to do with you anyways. Smoking Auditor with the big 5. Why are dogs allowed to go to the bathroom and make children with each other out in open public, but humans aren't? That's not fair.
That's true.
Good point. Levi with a big 10. It's like, I'm upset that women aren't upset about men's body count. Like, sorry you don't mind it. You can say, well, I care. Cool. It's not about you. It's true generality. Anybody want to add to that?
I'm a bit confused.
Hey, Sarah, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna check out and let somebody else check in. Thank you for having me.
Okay, we have an extra seat, so there's no need to boot, and you're welcome to stay either way.
Well, I had a very funny video in the background, but I know you're saying this is a Christian channel, so I don't know if you want to play that one.
It's not a Christian channel, but I typically don't pull up videos that
Is it
people
of a
share.
train?
Yeah, I want to see the train.
I'm not playing a train.
Yeah, pause on that.
No, it was about what men will do. You know what I'm saying? But it was funny. It's actually kind of funny.
It's good. We'll move on. I think Levi's saying, let's see, I'm upset that women aren't upset about men's body count.
Well, who isn't upset about, like, maybe this is a weird take from somebody who traditionally is, like, I guess red pill, but like I do care about how many poontangs the man has inserted himself into.
What if he paid for it? Is it cheating if you pay for it?
Absolutely. Who cares?
Yeah, but do you think most women care? I highly doubt most women
I care. I don't care about
I
most
do.
women.
Well, see, that's the thing. If we're speaking in generalities, we have to look at the trend.
I think I would, like, if I know a man is like a slut and he sleeps around, you know, like he's the community bicycle and all the girls have, you know,
Had a ride.
if more than 5 women know about his dick size and the way he taps it all night, I'm uncomfortable. That's fucking weird. Like, the last thing I would want is to be with a guy that all the girls like know how he slings his dick. I think that's
I
weird.
can.
But every girl will know after you tell them about it.
Isn't that hypergamy though?
Because women have the most vulgar girl talk.
Perhaps
Yes.
there is a extreme fall off to where women generally start to care a lot. But I think the problem is the women are not catching up with the man's disgust factor. Let's just say the man's disgust factor, if you want to say generally, is around 5 bodies. The woman's is probably around 10.
I just sent you an email, Flo. Check it out.
All right.
So I had a corker once.
yeah.
Sorry. Flo,
I
say
think-
it.
I was just gonna say, like,
he
he doesn't speak on my behalf. I
Yeah,
don't
you
think-
probably have more than 10 bodies.
I yes, probably do. But yeah, I don't think that you're qualified to speak for men in general.
Most men don't like hoes. You're the one you're the one praising
Most
them.
men
10 minutes
appreciate hoes and encourage hoes.
Most men use hoes
So-
and then
so
toss them
this-
to the side of the road. They don't
You
marry
don't want to
them.
wipe them.
So this
bang them.
That's
this
a lie.
conversation's kind of devolved
That's a
because
lie.
it's super generalities, right? So we're
How
saying
is
body
this
count's
speak,
important, body count's important, but a woman is way more than just her body count, right? Like, you can be a total slut and skank stripper like in your 20s, and then by the time you're in your 30s, have turned your life around to become a normal person instead of a degenerate, and be of value and be a good wife and be a good mother, right? So body count is just an indication of who you were and not who you are.
Yeah,
you know?
but your past does matter, right? Would you
Well,
agree
it
with that?
does, but only if you're
Can men
ashamed
do
of
the
it,
same?
where you can't be intimate with someone and actually be honest with them about who you were and who you changed into, right?
I mean,
So-
there's multiple reasons why outside of that, your past would matter.
And this is why I don't think that
Are
being
you married?
a body
What's his
count
name? The guy with
indicates
the-
that you're
the body?
have any of the qualities you said. Because I think that, I mean, this is anecdotal as well, but it seems like most sluts, they have a hoe phase, or they rebound or whatever. It's not like a persistent, evenly spread layout.
Yeah, that could be the case. I don't disagree with that.
I would say this. I mean, are you
So I
married?
wanna try to
sir, next
reconcile-
me? The guy next to me. Are you married? Have
Well,
you
my
been
name
married?
is my name is James. Who is the person? I'm
James,
with?
this is
What's your
Genesis.
name, ma'am?
Genesis.
Hello, Miss Genesis. No, I'm not
All right.
married. But what does
So
that have
you're
to do
not,
with the
have
topic?
you ever been married?
No, I'm not. What does that have to do with the topic?
Okay, it has plenty to do with the topic
Uh-huh.
because you're
Please explain.
saying that you're holding people to a higher standard that's really like what's not even going on in the world today.
Mhm.
You're saying that women should be this like chaste person, and that's not even what the world is right now. I mean, unless you like are going to be like dating women like fresh out of high school, you know, when you get to like your 20s and 30s, 9 times out of 10 they go through college. What do you think happens at college? What do you
And
think is really
before
going
you,
on?
Well,
before
because it's
you,
normal.
hold
so
on, before
because
you answer that, Mr. sent $20 in on Cash App, says Furby to the back. Furby, you have 20 minutes backstage. Thank you so kindly.
20 minutes to think about the choices you've
All
made.
right.
Brought you
And
to where you're
James, go ahead.
Yeah, just because a lot of people do a thing doesn't make the thing right. So it's easily
You're not being
refutable.
realistic. I mean, so therefore, you would pass up a perfectly fine girl that you were in love with because she probably like was a little bit wild in college. Maybe she had like more than 10 men that she hooked up with, or would you say, well, you know what? Actually, she is now in her 30s. Now she was wild back then, and now she's a new person. She's doing her thing. Whatever. I love her. I mean, I think that this whole like body count thing is so shallow and stupid. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
If I may, for just a moment.
To answer your question, Genesis, if I met a woman who was, I'll just give you two scenarios. Well, honestly, if she had 10 bodies, I probably would have never fallen in love with her. So the only way
How would you know that if she don't tell you?
Okay, so if she revealed it to me, and I just probably wouldn't be in a relationship with her anymore because she lied. So
how do you feel about being single for your whole life?
I'm not single. How do you feel about being Dusty?
If I may, so I'm actually not just gay, I'm bi, but so
And a slut.
I've been with chicks. Well, we're about to get into that. So, I've been with chicks and dudes, and see, I think that's one of the reasons probably why Dusty and I get along pretty well because
that's the implication right there.
he and I both have a lot of confidence, right? Where so I think there's a lot being missed here because if a dude's like me, where I have a larger than average size phallus, I have been with 50, 60 people in my life. I'm not really too worried about it, right? Because, and I just
that James's phallus is too small.
No, well, you know that I always say if you're smaller than if you're not at least 5, but it's usually about 7 inches, then you're not a real man, right? Like it depends. Depends on how thick too, right? But what in closing is, so I was with a dude 10, 15 years ago before I got married, and I was like, gay or bi? And he's like, I'm bi. And I'm like, how does any woman ever take that? It was about at least 11, maybe more inches, and as thick around as a soda can. And he said, I've never been able to penetrate a woman with my phallus. And so if he doesn't go around and test the waters,
why would you wait till I start eating? Tell me the story.
how's he going to figure out which woman fits the Cinderella slipper, right? Like it,
because
a woman, it's not
being in a
the same
relationship more
thing.
than sex.
K2 keep on
Did you
trucking.
just say it's about a
Hold on a second. K2 keep on trucking added another $10 on for Furby's time in the backstage
that's
with the
tough.
crystals. And then let me confirm, some dude, are you with us? You gotta unmute, baby doll.
Yeah, I'm here. Like, yeah, how you doing, Miss Lady?
How are you?
I'm chilling, yo. I'm just like, I wanted to interrupt Flo and bother him.
Well, let me actually interrupt everybody so I can get through a few more of these. I believe we left off here. Jack says it's a fallacy to say that women need to be promiscuous with multiple men.
Let me interrupt as well.
Experience or wisdom. There's no correction. With more is better in bed. I think you could gain experience both ways, either way, whether you're with one person and you're trusting and vulnerable enough to like try new things, or if you're, outsourcing, for instance.
Someone's going to teach with the 2-hand twist. It could be me.
Tara, can I ask you a question, though?
Hold on. Let me get through these real quick because there's a lot of them. I owe these people their time. Jack says, again, men have an issue with women being easily swayed by things that a majority of men can achieve. That means she's more susceptible to cheating more often. All right, fair. I'll accept that. Levi comes in with a big 10. The only time I've ever seen another woman actually care about body count is when they say, well, I care too. In this debate, when are we going to stop acting like this isn't a thing? It's absurd. I think the degree of caring is preference, right? And we all have preferences. We're allowed to have preferences, and that is that argument there of whether she cares or not. Just the same as Flow State here doesn't give two shits, except unless she's fucked two men at the same time.
No, that's not true either.
To a degree, right? Like you're not going around, and that's not the first question.
I'm not going to throw her in the lake and see if she sinks or swims like homeboy here. If she
Flo, hold on. Let me ask Miss Rosie.
Hold on. Let me finish my points here. We're gonna get through these super chats. Everybody's gonna be quiet. I'm just making a point. Whereas James here says anything over 10, and he's got the absolute ick. So I think these are preferences, and these are also based on your foundations. And I think any person can say whether they agree or disagree. Jack with the big 2 says value is how much a person is willing to pay for it.
Yeah, the word's a little more diverse than that.
It can be a metaphor.
Is that the last one? Can I ask you a question?
No, we've got a few. We got a few. Bear with me, okay? We've held on for quite a long time. Levi with the big 10 is a natural preference. It's not, well, higher likelihood of cheating or STDs. It's because men find it way grosser. This is like saying I date tall men because they can reach the jars, not because I'm attracted. That's fair. I agree with that. Anybody disagree on panel?
What was the thing?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's
yeah.
So it's a natural preference, right?
A preference for a man to prefer a woman with a low body count versus to not is the same way a woman might prefer a taller man than a shorter one.
Yeah, that's why preference is just a really bad way to sort the coupling of people, because then you have all these little individualistic things that just turn into hedonism, right? And she's just doing a cope is what she's doing. She's like, well, I have these preferences, so these other people have these preferences. It doesn't matter what anybody's preferences are. Then you get into just total lunacy.
Wait a minute.
Anything goes.
Your aversion to hedonism, your militant aversion to hedonism, is itself a form of hedonism.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying for me, like I have a preference for hedonism. I'm talking about culture in general.
Wait a minute, hold on. Y'all went to hedonism. That's a crazy word to use. That's a whole.
You're such an inefficient talker.
No,
yeah, you are, dude. You're the worst.
But no, I was like, y'all say hedonism, but I was going to something beyond that before,
We don't need you to spin around in circles before you lay down.
Yo,
Say your fucking point, man.
Rosy cheeks, I was being respectable to her, man. But the whole thing is like, the hypersexualization and everybody like from twerking to just idiotic, degenerate behavior.
Have you seen my twerking clip?
No, bro, that sounds weird.
Oh yeah, I'm playing it on my end right now.
I paid $2 for that twerk. It was a good twerk. It was well worth it. Rude Mudcrabbing with the big 5. Men are earners, and nothing worth keeping is ever easily obtained. We don't value a 304 because they don't value themselves. That's fair. Every man likes a good challenge. Enoch with the big 2. James, how would you know if she had 10 partners?
The problem is when you're dealing with a marketplace, oftentimes you have to deal with how men perceive things. So a man might perceive a woman who, like, let's just say she never says, and he's scared to ask. He can just look at who she hangs around, what her past relationships like, what was her relationship with her dad, how does she feel about the topic, what's her political affiliation. All these things can go into whether he would think like, she might be sleeping around.
Can I ask you a question, sir? What do you mean scared to ask about what?
Oftentimes when it comes to body count, you can't just up and ask the question.
Oh, yeah. It's like, I get it. Yeah, it's like asking a woman her age. You might get smacked.
I'm actually probably going to come out with a video of how to like tell, but you have to like look for different ways to glean the information. If
it's because they look up or glam. They're talking. That's how you know that she's had more than 5 bodies.
Have you ever broken a vagina?
Wait, you said gleam. Is it gleam or gleam?
My boy Gregory busts those pussies open all day long.
Okay. But they
such
get
a
up today
potty
shorted
mouth,
and make
Flo.
breakfast, no problem.
Give me,
Isn't
give me
that
an
right?
argument. Give me an
Morning,
argument.
no
Des.
problem.
He's
Give
a
me an
date.
argument.
Can I bring something to the table real quick that might be
Yes, yes, Ms.
amazing?
Genesis.
Please, baby.
Listen. Do you realize that a lot of times that women that are usually promiscuous are victims of SA?
Oh no. All of how many?
You know what?
many?
Stop that. That's so.
Oh,
it's
so
just-
so we're gonna just ignore that?
No,
I'm not-
no,
I'm not-
no.
I'm
Like
just
men go
asking how
through
many.
it too. Like,
No,
look,
only 9%.
I'll engage,
9%
I'll
of men go through it.
all
90,
right, good, good that you got
9%
Hold on.
admit it.
9% of men
Admit it.
larger. Okay, so but
Go
what
through
I'm
what?
saying is go through SA. So what I'm saying is that like so if a woman had like some kind of abuse in the past and that made her a very promiscuous
all right,
woman,
all right, hold on.
do
Miss
you hold that
Lady.
against her and say, you know what, you
No.
became promiscuous because of this your past or
No,
whatever happened?
no,
to you?
the
I think I
promiscuity.
Or
I think I
is it
still
that
would.
you think that
Mm.
all women are just promiscuous because they listen to twerk music
Not
and they're
at
like
all.
listening
No.
to hip hop?
Genesis,
And-
I think
and
there
listening
is
to
some
Bounce.
reason.
All right. We got two more, then we'll move on, and we'll come back to the essay thing for you, Quinny. Wrongful rage with a big 5. Best advice I can give: don't carry your baggage into the next or current relationship. You fix you, not them. Post toes and Riz donuts, you heathens.
And that is nice, I think.
And we drop all of our members. Please drop Riz Donuts in the chat for wrongful rage.
And I
Shout
also
out
have
to
a Riz
you.
donut emoji that I had
Mine's
first.
better.
That I had first. That can be dropped in my chat as well.
Rude mud crab with the big 5. Hoes are just fast food. I don't like it, but I'll defend your right to eat it. All right, and K2, I already added the time on, and let me do a shield up. And we got Derek. Are you with us, sir?
Yep.
Do you love hoes?
Well, in the short term, yes.
All right. I mean,
Yo, Flo. Like I just got a new thing, man. The Henry repeater 3030.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I used to have one of those. Actually, I had a Marlin.
Oh, okay.
Is
Yeah,
this the
I
type of
was
space
trying to get a Winchester, but those are weird.
All right, we've made it through all the super chats.
On the on the point of essay, I would say if the more you put yourself out there, the more opportunities of bad things to happen, and that's where
Oh my
I'd say
God!
that's
Now
a
we're
caution.
victim blaming.
No,
Oh,
no,
wow.
I'm just saying, like,
So a
don't
person
take
that as
public
a child is
transportation.
putting themselves out there?
Most it usually happens for women when they're younger, when they're young girls.
Yes.
They don't know anything about it. They wouldn't even know it was
That
wrong.
slut
most of
shouldn't
the
have stayed the
time.
night at her friend's house.
Right. Yeah. So
And answer your
I
question.
believe most of the SA victims are young girls, like not even teenagers at that time.
Sarah,
And
nice.
it is a very high percentage.
Never mind.
I think every woman I've ever had a conversation with, that piece always is a piece. It's always a part of a conversation. It's almost like you're comparing battle wounds at some point. But every woman I've had a personable conversation with has had that happen to them, and it's always when they were young.
and
You
to
try
engage
to
with your
bond it.
question about whether
I
or
can
not
also tell
what's
you
the-
that pimps actually look after women. They look for women and have that.
Hold
background.
on, though.
Yeah,
Hold
and
on.
it
Like
is something
that.
very unfortunate that happens. And then to answer your question, like let's just say a guy's in a relationship with a girl, perhaps he should take that into consideration and have a little bit more grace. But it still doesn't necessarily just excuse like a woman who has had that problem in the past, but then has 50 bodies on top of it, as opposed to somebody who has 5. It's probably just a level of grace he could give, not too much.
Grace. Okay,
The
so let
reason
me ask.
that
That doesn't okay. Let me flow back to you after this, but
That's
I
a
will
nerve.
say it doesn't excuse everything. Nobody would
Thank
agree
you.
that that's just an excuse, right?
Mhm.
But I will say if something happened when she was younger and then her teenage years got a little degenerate, and then she figured it out and smooth sailing after that and went back to being a normal person, for instance, I should say, got their
normal people rub parts.
Wait a minute.
It's like,
Sarah's
you
one of
know-
those smart girls. She's cute and smart. God darn it.
A woman that's promiscuous, there's usually some kind of a mental thing going on with her that would allow her.
I
to
think,
open her
yeah,
mouth.
I think we
Why can't
all
you just be
agree.
a
We
hoe?
have
Why
to
can't you
really,
just
like-
like to be a hoe? What's so
No,
what is
there's
so, what
usually
is so hard to
something
think about?
You would like that.
For a
No,
woman,
I see it all. I see
to-
women twerking. I see women
So
like.
hold on. I
hopping on a
actually
handstand.
And actually allowing someone
Motherfuckers are talking.
Hold on, guys.
I'm going to play a stupid video if you guys don't. You know what? Fuck all of you because you're being gay.
Tomato, fierce and red, juicy curves,
This message is sponsored in part by.
No.
Actually,
Every
thought that
time
was a
you
pretty great
gentlemen interrupt each other like that,
I had to
will
take it off
just
stream on
play
my
the
end
gay
so
video.
that my audience wasn't subjected to that. Now you said it would come back
Yeah.
to me, so I'm going to keep talking, and I'm just
Go
rolling
ahead,
right on
Flo.
through. I'm going to say the issue that those two guys are probably actually a lot of guys, but have is that you don't understand relationships as a connection with another person. You understand it abstractly as a schematic and an equation. So,
Flo, I think your hat's
Don't-
too tight. Your hat's too tight, Flo.
Well, Dusty, that's
Or
the
as an
argument.
exchange of
Some
services.
dudes
hold on,
say-
some dude. Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
I want to hear
Go
what
ahead,
some.
Flo.
Why is that, some dude? I hope you have something smart to say.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, y'all be doing your thing. I love it.
All right,
Pop
you're
up.
just taking up space.
No,
from the
no, your hat is too tight.
I would agree that your hat is too tight, Dusty, on that argument, because you're saying we're taking it too abstract, and that's the reason why we're missing the point.
I don't think that you have an understanding of what it's like to have an actual relationship. I think that you've got a conceptual understanding because
Man, we
you've never
ain't
built a building,
friends.
but you've been to
problem is-
architecture
the
school.
problem is the concepts and the empirical data has to combine. So, like, if someone's too empirical, they're going to say, "Oh, well, so long as she's clean and so long as she's with me right now, then it doesn't matter." But you also have to take into the account the abstract. Some things like principles, things that you can't really see that are there, certain truths, certain axioms. You have to take those into account as well.
Can
That's
I
it.
say one thing?
And when
you're
you
at the club and you're breaking down all the abstracts
No,
and all
hold
like,
fast though. No, he a cool cat. Are you a
No, he's
ginger
talking. He's talking
albino?
about a culture that isn't a clubbing culture, right? It's
No,
different.
he's a
than-
ginger albino with
No,
waves.
just
That's
algorithm, bro.
irrelevant, dude.
All right,
cooking-
some
and I'm
dude.
cooking
Hold on,
Dusty right here.
hold
I'm
on.
cooking
Some
right now.
dude, I
You're
need
not
you to
cooking.
stay. Shut up for a second. Some dude, I need you to stay on topic, buddy. All of these random
He won't do
one-liners
it. You
that have
should just
nothing
drop
to do
him.
with the topic.
He got waves, and he's an albino ginger.
He is an albino. That is
Hey,
true.
so I
That's
actually
wild.
want to say something to Powder Dusty, and then also Miss Detroit. Miss Detroit, I agree with you. Women that are promiscuous tend to have something a little extra going on, and that's part of the reason men pay attention to that and try to avoid it. Right? So,
Then don't
good
pay
point.
attention. What are you talking
All right,
about?
all right,
Certain
hold on,
men
hold
get
on,
into it and
hold on,
try
hey,
to
hey,
avoid it.
hey.
She's gonna
Dusty,
play
hold
another
on,
game
Dusty,
trailer if you
Dusty,
guys don't stop.
hold on. All right, Dusty, to the point you just made, you were like, well, you guys don't know what it's like to have a relationship. You're looking at it like it's a schematic. I would never look at a woman and say, you're not allowed to factor in a man's income and resources into a relationship. Because they do
wasn't
that
asking
doesn't
it.
mean they're looking at me like I'm a schematic.
So
They're looking at me. They're looking at
They're
me.
looking at you as an
holistically.
exchange of services.
They're looking at me for the quality of my character, but also what do I bring to the table as a person.
You're
Yeah,
also
part of-
looking
part
at it
of a
as
holistic-
schematic. When you meet somebody, now this applies to you too, Derek. When you guys meet somebody, you're not engaging with a person. You're trying to figure out if they plug into this puzzle you've made in your head. You're in your head, not in the connection, and that's not good for any sort of connection.
But would that also then be true for women whenever they're probing me on date one to see how much I make?
I don't see
What-
women do
what-
this sort of thing ever at all.
Yeah, but
It's
Dusty,
always men.
the
It's
argument
always
falls
men that
apart
have
with
these.
this analogy. Like, okay, a person's too in their head, and they just don't want to hire convicts. Oh my gosh, you're just thinking about it too much. No, how about they just
Now
have a
you're shit.
standard?
Now you got something
How
against
about they just have a
convicts.
standard? They just have a standard. They want to stick with it, and that's what's part of their dignity, how they love themselves. And you're saying, oh no, just disregard that because hoes want to be hoes.
No, what I'm saying is that I don't think that you know what you want.
I'm explaining to you a lot of things. You can kind of like ascertain that I don't want women who have more than 10 bodies. That I'm probably a little bit more intentional with you. I mean,
What is
you-
your reason for that though? Because I think the disconnect is yours is more of a religious ideal that's based on all of these axioms that are higher than yourself that you base on like this dogma that you follow. Whereas Flo is more of like a preference, right? So I think that's where y'all's disconnect is that you don't.
I think it's still a preference, right?
No.
It's just their preference is based on their intentions that are then derived from their foundations of principles and values.
Because here's what happens in the real world. Whatever the maximum number of acceptable bodies, if it's 10 for you or whatever it is, it's always going to be just higher than whatever the chick is he's with, right? Dudes don't actually hold to standards in the real world.
This is ad hominem. Where's your actual
And we
argument?
pretend like
It's
people
not-
are
that
gonna
wasn't
like,
an ad hominem at
having
all.
this discussion like,
So
oh
because-
yeah, I had 10 body. Like, what kind of
So
discussion?
guys, the reason
You
high
want
body
11?
count on women is a bad thing is because nobody likes gluttony. If you have a feast around you and you can't control yourself, there's a problem with that. If you have
Sir, I'm a big
$1,000,
game
hold on.
Only when it
If
comes to
you have
women.
if you have
though. Only when it comes to women.
$1,000 and that's all you have, and you blow it all in 10 minutes at the mall, there's a problem with that.
Can I help
Sex is an
you?
all-you-can-eat buffet for
This
women.
is retarded. That's not
No.
why at all. That's not why at all.
Hey, how about you?
I'm
Dusty,
about to tell you
chill
why.
out. Let me finish. I've got a sentence left.
I'm
and
trying
then
to
you can
help-
say
okay,
whatever
go
you
ahead.
want. So, sex is an all-you-can-eat buffet for women. They can have it whenever they want. There's no merit. There's no effort. There's no anything needed for a woman to go out and have sex whenever she wants to. But a woman that can abstain from that shows a level of discipline, just like somebody who doesn't demolish the all-you-can-eat buffet, and just like somebody that doesn't max out all the credit cards. There's respect to be had in that. Go ahead, Dusty.
You must not have been here earlier. This was one of the first things I addressed. I said there's all these justifications for dudes wanting lower body counts. None of that shit's true. Nobody's actually considering that when they're responding to somebody who's got an atrociously high body count. That's visceral, it's quicker, and it's because we as men, whether or not it's PC to say, women are a trophy in a lot of ways. And
Visceral.
if we have a woman who's who's obviously a hoe, that devalues the accessory, for lack of a better word.
Actually,
I would agree with you, Dustin.
I actually agree with you.
Hold on just a second.
rewind.
Hold on. Shut up. Wouldn't this actually exemplify that women may actually care less about sex and more about other valuable things in a man, and it's the man who actually just cares about the sex? If
In that
like,
case,
if
woman's
there's
using the
nothing
sex.
else, like what else about that woman do you care about to
It's
where
not the
her
whole
body
thing.
count is the whole? Well, is it though?
No,
Because
it's not
this
the whole
seems to
thing.
be-
I'm just
visceral.
I'm saying that's the key concern with regards to body count. But it's not the whole thing about the woman or the relationship. It's just what
I can agree with you, but I would push back just a
women
little
are-
bit because I still think there's a level of rationalization someone can have when they're thinking about it, when they're thinking about a potential suitor, when they're thinking about their standards, how they want to communicate those. They
Sure.
can still have a rational understanding, and there's a level of subjectivity to that by man to man. So a lot of men are going to have a gluttony, something that's tied to gluttony, something that's tied to discipline. But it's still there's the problem is there is still a objective reality of a man's subjective disgust.
Subjective to
Well,
what?
okay, but what I'm saying is this just shows that women don't view sex as valuable, so therefore giving it away more easily doesn't click in their head the way it does to you. We look at you as valuable in terms of you're resourceful, you're funny, you're handsome, you're this, you're that. We look at you as
Damn
a
right I am.
person. Like
Person, thank you.
we look at you as a person, whereas you're looking at us as an object, whether we're being passed around or not, like a
No,
toy.
we're not, Sarah.
Let me
Oh,
say it again.
We're not,
Let me
Sarah.
say it again for the anxious women. That is not the only aspect of women that we look at. That is the primary aspect of body count, of why body count matters.
Yeah.
Can I make the observation that the only time body count matters is when you're considering a relationship?
Yeah, we all
Anything
like
beyond sex is where it takes an important role.
Correct.
And that's it. If you're just nailing them, you're just another body and nobody cares.
I'm sorry. I want to hear from
Sarah,
Mark
you a little
because
off,
I'm in my
Sarah.
40s. I'm 47. Okay, so I don't know. I think that once
Me
you're in a
too,
certain
baby.
age, y'all done had kids and everything. Like, what are we talking about? Y'all are younger, and I don't
There are
think
people that will still bang you.
I have
Amen, sister.
Well, let me
you
get
know-
to a couple
old
more.
and-
I feel old too. Like I'm not, like I'm far beyond the dating market and all of those things. I've been married, had kids, been divorced. Like at this point, I don't care,
The
right?
wall and all
So
that bullshit.
none of
You're
that
like
wall.
cowboy boots.
I went flying into that wall, fell down, got back up, and ran back into it again.
Right. Like
You
climbed
still-
up it, slammed the
Sarah.
gate.
Yeah,
whatever.
slam my
Sarah,
head,
you would
everything.
still love snakeskin cowboy boots.
Oh God. But in any
Mm-hmm.
event, to me, it doesn't matter. I don't care because I'm not on the dating market. So this doesn't even apply to me, but it seems to be a big fucking deal across this space of,
potty
asking
mouth.
that question, what's your body count? And
Well,
it's weird to me because to
Potty
me,
mouth.
if you and I are not in an intimate relationship or any type of relationship, and you're some stranger on the internet, why do you care about what I do intimately, right?
There's a
Why
problem.
are you
There's a problem
blushing?
right there.
Why are you
Basically-
blushing right now?
Basically, there's a marketplace out there, and men care about X thing. So let's just map it on to like men
The
just really want power windows. They just really want it. I don't understand why. It's just so stupid. I don't care about power windows. I mean, I can do without power windows. It oftentimes goes like past men. It doesn't
Not
do
in a
anything for
truck.
the argument.
What do you
Because you're
think
not
of
hold
understanding
on,
that
wait, guy,
there's a
hold on,
marketplace
wait,
for this.
guy.
Is it
Yo,
more
you got
natural
Sarah
or
blushing.
Rocky,
Sarah's
do you
blushing.
never know when somebody's talking?
Never.
You are the one
Yeah,
that
I-
always interrupts.
I'm
All
not
right,
trying
Jack
to
comes in with the
interrupt.
Big Ten, says, I already said promiscuity is a telltale sign of mental instability. Women admit it themselves. Men see it for themselves as well. They learn from experience as well as their peer experiences. Yes, I can agree with that.
Well, what if the guy wants a woman who is unable to control herself because he wants to control her? I mean, I've had that dynamic in a relationship where I've been with a total slut, and I knew it in advance, and I knew that it'd be easier to manipulate her because of it.
I love
Be a good relationship.
your shamelessness about that.
It just
Bravo,
Absolutely.
sir.
It wouldn't be
I
a
think-
good
I
relationship.
think we're
I
up
think
to
all
the-
y'all have all these standards because you have options. When you get a little bit older and you have lesser options, all these standards gonna go out the window.
I think
That's only true for women.
Look, the ones out here holding up the highest standards generally have the fewest options. Is my
Hey, yo, Sarah turns red by the second. She's
Oh,
really
shut
a
up.
Hey,
You're
Sarah. So,
blushing. You're
Sarah, I have a
blushing.
question for you. I'd like
Sure,
you to
Derek.
clarify something for me. A moment ago, you were saying that men look at women like they're a sexual object, but women look at men like they're an actual person.
Hmm.
What I don't understand is why is it that if men have a standard, and there's more standards than just sex, it's you're not looking at me like a person, but women have standards outside of personality for men, such as weight, height, income, things like that. Women have so many standards and they're valid, but you don't in turn say women are looking at men like they're objects. You just say women have standards.
I don't think that those are always the hardest standards. I think if honestly, like one thing I hear from most women is he funny? Does he make me laugh? Is he kind? Is he good to me? I mean, not to say that we don't want the resources, right? Hypergamy is real. We all acknowledge that. But to the degree that men say, well, if you don't have a six pack, six figures, and you're not 6 foot tall, then you give up. Because like how many average height men that are like 5'6",
short, broke dudes
5'7",
fuck all the time.
yeah, like they have wives and children, or they get ass, they have girlfriends, they're doing just fine. So I think I think men create their own in their head, like that's the black pill talking, like, well, if I'm not this, and this, well then, she doesn't want me. Blah, 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 blah.
But it's not like there's a
Wait,
mess
hold
load
on.
of
Let me get it.
women.
Let me get it.
No, hold on.
Is
because
that your benchmark?
I'm in a conversation, bro. Stop.
All right.
So
You're on a panel. You're lost.
You're on the panel.
yeah. So there's not like there's a huge demographic of like whores.
What are you
that
talking
just,
about?
Like not
Wait
able
a
to get a
minute.
man,
No,
right?
don't
Just
do
like the
that.
short, fat, broke dudes are doing fine.
Come on, there's one woman on
women-
panel and at least
those
3
women are
whores.
still-
Yeah, don't do
They're
that.
still finding
That's
partners.
stupid.
Oh, hold on. I want to hear him. Everybody shut up.
What I'm saying is there isn't like 10 million whores that are just out there unable to get a man, right? Just like the short, fat, broke
You're
dudes are
being
doing fine.
stupid right
Those
now.
women are
Dude, god damn it. Shut the fuck up.
You might have to drop him at some point. I do
I
regularly.
did. I just did.
I'm gonna
Some
say that I
dude-
don't know no hoe that ain't got no man.
I'm gonna leave you back there. Actually, Mel's timer just came up anyways. I'm gonna leave you back there, some dude. Maybe you'll learn to stop fucking interrupting, especially after I already said, everybody shut up. I want to hear what he says. And here you are fucking interrupting left and right while I'm trying to
Stop
hear
prattling.
Derek. I will fucking prattle. It's my panel. Derek, please continue. You might have to
Thank
start
you,
over.
mistress. You have another.
Well, so I'll just sum it up briefly.
stopped,
I would say the reason that body count matters, and it's the first question asked for people that it's important to, like myself, is that's not the decider, but that is part of the qualifier. If I had to pick between a woman that had 100 bodies, but she was my best friend, we clicked, my time around her was amazing, fuck the 100 bodies, let's go, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if she had 0 bodies,
Yuck.
and I couldn't stand her, well, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's the end all be all, but if given the choice, I would rather have somebody with far fewer bodies because that does show a level of restraint. So body count isn't the end all be all. It is a qualifier, and when guys have so few standards for women, of course that's going to be the thing that gets brought up like all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Derek, I also think it's I think I can answer Miss Tomato's question better, your initial one. I think the reason why she has a problem with it is because there's probably a level of feminism inside of her.
I actually
she's
never
assuming-
said I have a problem with it.
But you're saying men are objectifying women because
not
we-
feminism.
No, you're not listening.
Sarah is
You're
not a
listening.
feminist, by the way. She is not a
Thank you.
feminist.
No, what I'm saying is that men are putting like weight on this body count, right? Which
Mhm.
tells me there is a some type of objectification to what she does with her body. Like now
yeah.
this matters what she does with her body.
It does.
Right? Whereas you're saying the standard for women would be like your money, your looks, your this, your that, all of these other things. So who cares less about sex in this aspect? And that would be in this example, it would be women. So
Absolutely.
if women care less about sex, then wouldn't that actually make sense why we would go and have more? And it would make sense why you like suck at getting it. Like it actually makes sense now
That
why
actually
you're
does make
making
sense.
why you're so mad that women care less about it.
It's
and,
not like that, though.
and because we have such little care about it, and then we still have the ability to get it more than we even care for.
Well, I
It's
just
not-
take issue with the terminology you're using, objectification. We're not objectifying women because we don't
Why
of their.
not? Women like that shit.
I think the reason why you pick that word is
Are you
because they're
reducing
assuming
them to a
level of-
sexual object?
No, but
No, they do that themselves.
Frequently.
Okay.
Well, so Sarah,
Yeah,
question
like
for
I
you then
said,
to
I
kind of
wanna say
piggyback
that-
off of what you were just saying. You
I would
said
argue
that-
you are, and here's how
said
you're
that
doing it.
Women,
Hold on, Mel.
You said that women care less about sex. That's why they would have it more.
Based on the argument that they have these high body
yes,
counts.
yes, based on that. But in the dynamic that you're talking about women caring less about sex within like the relationship between like a man and a woman. In that same vein though, like I don't care how much money a woman makes. That doesn't mean that I don't care how much money that I make. So the value a woman is placing on like that would be like me saying, okay, well, I don't care how much money she makes, so I don't care how much money I make. That's the same thing you're saying, but for sex. The woman's
Okay.
saying, "Oh, I don't care about
Okay,
sex."
so then turn that on the sex concept, right? So if a man cares so much about how much sex she is or is not having, then why is he not holding himself to that same standard, right? So like then that's where that double standard comes in. So now I guess it's twofold. It's fair across the
It's a
board.
double
So if-
standard.
Hold on,
No,
hold on.
no,
This,
no,
is
no.
this is what I was talking
Hold-
about. This is the
How-
feminism I was talking about. You're assuming too much
It's not
symmetry.
feminist.
Well, I mean, if I can't make the argument, I
Based
can
on
make
what
the
he's
argument.
saying, based on what he just said, well, I don't care about how much money you make. So then if I didn't care about how much money I made as a man, he's saying, like, then it wouldn't matter, right? So then
What's the feminism
place
part?
that on the body count. I'm just taking his argument and utilizing it in the opposite direction.
I don't.
So
I
you
don't
have
think
to
it's a
be.
double standard though, because I think it's okay for men to judge women based on their body. I think it's perfectly fine for women to judge men based on their resources.
And I'm fine with a double standard.
And I don't think there's a
But
double
you
standard.
realize the difference.
I would be
There's
fine
not
with
a
a double
double
standard.
standard.
I just don't think this is one.
Yeah,
So-
it doesn't even matter because I'm fine with it either way. It is what
So
it is.
it's not that
You realize
women
there's
care.
a difference though between like men can judge women based on things that they might not have choices over, like the color of their hair, their eye color, and stuff like that. Whereas men can totally get into whatever profession they want. So there's a there's a level of
It's
of
not
agency
fair.
there.
That's
not
irrelevant.
It's just
So
not
Sarah, men
Can I
don't
say
care.
something real quick?
Men don't care about sex less or more than women. It's just that women care about sex as a means to an end to get things that they want.
What?
Right. So women make.
You never hold on.
Now
You told
we
me you
don't
never
have-
had women
now-
come up to you
No,
just for
he's
your dick.
correct. He's
Now
We're
we
correct.
don't
starting
have
to make
casual
sense.
He's
sex.
correct.
Hold on.
That's a
Absolutely correct.
prostitute.
Let him
But I'm
cook.
gonna say this:
Sometimes
as much
the dick
as
is
much
what they
Yeah,
want.
and I really
I'll be
triggered the
assistant
women
chef.
here, so I'm on to something, right? Is that what that is?
Let him cook, and I'll be assistant.
I
chef.
wanna
Go
make
ahead.
a
How many
quick
women are you
statement.
gonna have tell you that you're wrong
I
before
want
you're
to make
like,
a
oh,
quick
maybe I'm
statement
wrong?
real quick.
You're
We're
not
getting
one.
you're talking.
So hold
As
on,
much
hold
as
on.
these guys on here will say that they would not date a hoe, I don't know one hoe that ain't got no man. And
Dating
that's what
one
I'm
and
gonna
settling
keep
down with one are
saying.
two different things.
I don't know.
So-
no
Preach it,
hoe
honey.
I know ain't got no man. Period.
date hoes all day.
Anson, let me ask you this then. So if you and I meet at the bar, you buy me a you buy me a couple shots, and later on I go home with you and fuck your brains out. Absolutely crazy wild night. I kiss you and I leave. And I don't come back ever again. I did that just for resourcing you, or did I
No.
do it because I wanted to have a great time?
Bruh, that's
Yeah,
not
you
the
did it.
point.
You did it. You did it for pleasure. I don't think about these body count conversations in terms of just one night stands, because that's just for individual gratification, self gratification. That's using sex. Like I said, it's using sex to please yourself. I'm talking
And you're
about
not really
body
having
count
the body
conversation,
count
which is in
conversation.
relation to relationships that are
Bro.
long term, because that's where it's a problem, right?
You
And
can't
women-
you can't just decide to have a different conversation than the one that we're having.
Wait,
Yeah.
no,
That is
I'm having the
biggest
same
moving
conversation.
of the goalposts
Hold
I've ever seen
on.
in my life.
Mr. sent $20 on Cash App and says, Furby to the back.
go. Get that money,
Furby,
Sarah.
You got 20 minutes
Dang,
backstage.
Furby.
Hold on, let me set the timer
You
here.
guys like grapefruit?
No,
Yes.
I don't.
God,
It's the one
yes.
thing
Yeah, I can't
don't
eat
like.
that though. That's
Ruby red
That's-
grapefruit. I'll sit and eat like 3 of them, man.
Dude,
It's
I can
ridiculous.
yeah,
I
buddy.
see that.
All right.
You really
Say
want to have a
goodbye
good
for
night
a few
to
minutes,
force
Furby.
vodka in this bitch?
Damn
And
right.
then let me get through a couple more of these. I'm behind again, and then we'll come back to you, Anson. Okay, so stand by for just a moment. As ZT Den with the big 5 says, I think what he was trying to say was your reputation precedes you. He wasn't victim blaming. I think a reputation. Yeah, I think it could if it's
I think
out
it was
there.
victim blaming. I think that's
I think he was victim blaming too, but Jack with the big 10, men have never met a promiscuous woman who wasn't taken advantage of and went down some crazy spiral of degeneracy, but men caring about body count is a problem. Y'all are making men's point,
Yeah, that's a good point.
no. This is a terrible point. This is a simp mindset right here. Every woman who's this way is traumatized and broken. Some people, including women, are just whatever. Right? Some women love being sluts. They had no trauma. They like doing it because they like sex or they like the power. Normally, it's a power thing. Sometimes they're Machiavellian, right? There's all sorts of reasons, and to just go, oh, they're all abused was naive.
If it took
I've
trauma,
heard about that in the
Hey,
Swingers Club. I've heard about
That's not
people
even
in
the
the Swingers
definition of
Club.
it.
I've been silent the whole time. Allow me one more.
Get in there.
And I'm going to interrupt, and then Sasquatch, you're going to take over. Kate,
And I'm gonna interrupt too.
Talking adds another 20 minutes. Mel to the back for another 20. So I'm adding 20 more on. That's
Dang,
40
that's not really
total.
like
Mel, go ahead, Sasquatch.
If it took trauma to instigate a hoe phase, there wouldn't be every single chick out there with a hoe phase. They all have stories they can tell about, oh, my senior year of college, or the year I got out, or the year before I got married, and they
That was
refer
the
to
year that she got
themselves
peed on a lot when she got a phase of getting
as
peed
a
on.
hoe phase. And so if it takes trauma to generate this type of activity, there seems to be an awful lot of perceived trauma out there, and it's selectively perceived by the people involved.
And the lady who brought up the question about what if women have these problems, and therefore it leads to this life of promiscuity. You're only just proving a man's point. That's all the chat was saying.
Yeah, the trauma chicks aren't any more like promiscuous than the normal ones. I mean, they're just more.
Well,
freak,
that's not
more
true.
fun.
I don't have enough sense data to make that claim, but perhaps
And,
anecdotally, trauma chicks are.
Rocky Shepherd is adding another 10 minutes on. Mel, I'm adding that
Hey,
on. You
Mel.
got.
Personally, I prefer daddy issues.
Oh, those are awesome.
Do you think
Oh.
getting trauma from being backstage so much that we kick it off the road?
Starter hoe face.
Let's turn that bitch out tonight.
All right, let's move on. Jack with a big 10 says men have never met a promiscuous. Oh, wait, I already read that. My apologies. Jack again says, I've said the same thing about women with excessive tattoos. It's an outward manifestation of inner turmoil. Women who feel wronged tend to wrong a lot of men. It's not a wise bet to cuff to cuff a hoe.
How many
Just
tattoos
saying.
do you have?
Hey, Jack is spitting. Hey, Jack, come on the panel, bro. I mean,
tattoos do you have, Sarah?
I like Jack's position right now. It's that
You're right,
Jack
you're right.
is doing just fine
How
where
many
they are.
tattoos do you have, Sarah?
I have one teeny eensy weensy little tiny, smaller than a dime
Is it a
tattoo.
Looney Tune? It's not like Tweety Bird, is it?
No.
I have a
No,
cartoon tattoo.
It is smaller than a dime.
I
no,
could tell
that
by
was
your
all I
voice,
could-
Sasquatch, and your accent that you've got a cartoon tattoo.
But you probably think it's Yosemite Sam, right?
Or Foghorn Leghorn.
Nope. Wrong on both counts. Tigger.
Well, I have a
Bouncy,
theory on
pouncy,
body-
fun.
So
I
that's
have a theory on body count.
Hold on to it.
Hey, wait, Rocky has good theories. Like you might want to hear Rocky about hoes.
Okay, give me a second. Let's run through these super chats. We got just a few more to get through, and then we will give the floor to Rocky, and I'll go get some coffee. Jack says the problem with these convos is that y'all assume men don't interact with promiscuous women as anything other than partners. They have promiscuous mothers, sisters, and friends. They know how they move. Just saying. I want to know how you know your mama's a hoe. That's kind of weird.
We all know his mama's a hoe.
Jack is spitting. Jack's spitting.
Yeah, Jack's right.
Well, mama ain't doing her job right. That door's supposed to be private and locked. You should not
Yeah.
know your mother's sex
It
life.
opens and shuts too many times a day.
Yeah. Kids know. Kids always know.
That's nasty.
Being raised by
Awesome for you when you get back.
Let's see. ZD Den with the big
These
10
dicks for you, you
says
ungrateful little bastard.
instead of a body count, think of it like DNA collection. How does it sit with you now? This is why it matters more for women than men. The men are entering and not being entered. Body count matters.
The DNA does not stay with a woman forever.
I had
don't
my
think
mom
that's
tell
what
me
he's
that the other day.
I don't
That
think
was
it's- I don't
the
think that's what
craziest
he's
thing.
Uh,
That's just crazy.
I mean, if you're wearing condoms and stuff too, I mean, then it's
Well,
really
why would you do
not.
that?
Not.
It's stupid.
Even if you're, yeah, why would you do that? But even if you're not, like, I'm sorry, like, jizz doesn't get incorporated into their DNA. They don't mutate into a new, like, it's just crazy.
Have you heard of
Not
twins by two different fathers?
It goes
Yeah,
into
fraternal twins,
The sperm goes into your brain.
Mhm.
Only if you give good skull, honey. We need to talk.
The pass with the big says Sarah is slaving over a hot mic, kisses, drinks, angry tomato, real one, family, respect. Shout out to you, Pass. Thank you for keeping our chat clean. Rev MSJ with the big 10. I just wanted to say hi to Andrew Wilson's infamous black ex-wife.
Damn.
Pretty good. K2, we accounted for that earlier. Enoch with the big 5. Men wife up 304s all the time. LOL. It's the worst kept secret. Guys aren't checking for pure virgins who knit sweaters and attend Bible study. I think that is
Amen,
solid.
brother.
And I don't want to be the one who has to say this, but if you were married and in the military at the same time, you married one too.
That is
Oh,
true.
I
Yeah.
was in the military. You're
Either
right.
that or Jody took care of him.
Tag chasers. That's what they
I
are.
was in the military. Don't be looking.
And Rocky Shepherd, we accounted for that as well. Jack says you skipped one. Damn it. Which one did I skip?
The
We got
14th one.
that one. Oh, God, the 14th one. I said the same thing with tattoos. Men have never met women taking advantage. Some
All right.
crazy
While you mumble, Mister, I'm dropping your bombs right now while she's mumbling and rummaging
Go
around
for it. Go
in the
for
junk
it.
drawer.
Phew. Well, I feel like we need to share clips for some of these things so that we can just share.
I'm gonna send my bombs to you.
Fine.
He just wants your bombs. Yes.
I don't know if I thought I got all these. A man who knows.
Oh my god.
Oh, here we go. This one. Okay, I found it. As a man who knows promiscuous women, they are a burden as just a friend. We have seen their relationship and their mindset. When you see behind the stage, you know who you're dealing with if you're on the other side.
Facts.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. All right. I'm going to go get a coffee. Rocky,
And
feel
they'll still
free.
try her.
What's that?
And they'll still try to get with her. Come on now,
They
men.
will. They will. You guys don't
Absolutely.
judge.
Yeah, we'll shame.
We
Zero.
fuck and we don't judge.
We'll shame
All
you for
right.
it.
We're going to give Rocky the floor because I know he's going to take forever. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. For men, it's more natural. Like bulls, they have a lot of cows. Male lions have a lot of female lions. Okay, in the Bible, like Solomon had how many wives? How many concubines? But have you ever heard of a woman having more than one husband? That
I
doesn't
have.
seem natural. Well, okay, you have. Okay, it's not as normal as the other way around, though, right? So originally in the scriptures, it wasn't against the law to have, because men were told to go out and populate the earth, and so men could have more than one, have many children through more than one wife. Like if he had 300 wives, he could have times 10, 3,000 children from one man. So, and I think
Rocky, I just vouched for you
women
now
have
you're
a
throwing
more
Bible shit at
personal.
me.
So, okay, listen, I'm not finished yet, Flo. Okay,
Okay.
and women, it's more of a personal, like when women do it's more of a person. It's like they're looking for a relationship, and sometimes men aren't. Women, when they have, so if a woman has 10 body count, like a 10, it means she like tried to have a personal relationship with 10 dudes. But as a man, a man would be more like, it's
Like
just
flippant.
natural for me
More
to have
flippant.
children, and I'm just going to spread my seed and have some children and populate but that's been the New Testament. That's been, now we're only
That's a
supposed to
good
have
point. That
one
women are
wife.
more attached
And
to the
so-
people that they have sex with, so therefore, each man that she
Yeah.
hooks up with, they're
Yeah.
still a part
Right.
of her
That's
because
not
she's
good.
attached
Hey,
to
Rocky,
them.
Rocky, could I add on to
People
that?
have sex with me.
Rocky, could I add on to that since you're the
Yeah,
leader?
go ahead.
I think oftentimes with women, especially when they're first getting sexually active, as Rocky is saying, sex is kind of like a bargaining chip. If they're going to lay down with you, they're going to kind of expect some type of reciprocal relationship in return. It's not actually sex for sex. That they don't see it value for value like a man might. They might say, well, if I'm having sex with you, I might expect you to give me a good morning or ask how my day was, or at least take me out. They don't want to be treated like somebody, like a hoe.
Sir, you're going to have to buy me a drink.
Well, I mean, if you're a
we're gonna
female, I would have considered
Well,
it.
my point was, I think it's more
Well, I would-
it's
I would
more
agree.
natural. It's more natural for a man to have more than one partner. Like in the scriptures, it used to
It's
be.
better if the chick chooses the other chick, right? Like, because if you suggest a chick to your chick, then she's not going to like her at all. But
Oh yes, no, the wife
but if
has
she
to
picks
approve.
out the chick, then it'll be all right.
Also, Mr. Shepard, the problem is that women are like very jealous and possessive of a man and their own children. So if you have a child from like another woman and it's all within the same family, then those other half siblings will start to hate each other, and the mother may plan to like kill or harm.
Have
or,
you ever actually had a relationship, sir? Hold on. I have a blended family. And we raised all of our children as though they were our children, even though 2 of them aren't mine, and only 1 of them is out of wedlock mine. And that's not an uncommon situation when there's siblings and step siblings. They're all treated as part of the same pack. It's just the way we roll. If you're not doing that, it might be a problem with you.
I don't
Sasquatch,
think he means anyone's killing or harming babies. I think even Lord is speaking from a biological standpoint, in that a woman would, if she had to save one from falling off the cliff, would probably save her biological child over her non-biological child.
Or the closest one.
So Sasquatch. So what Edgelord is talking about is the fact that if a woman is in a relationship with a man and has a child from a different man, that child is statistically significantly higher risk in terms of outcomes that are negative.
Fuck
right?
it.
No, it's statistical truth, right? Because that child is not being raised in a home with both of his biological.
You should be the change you want to see in the world. You should.
Well, yeah, that's
And I want to change this conversation because it's boring. Like, you're right, Anson, but like, I don't know. Who cares? The important
there
thing
are examples in the scriptures of, like, David had children from different wives, and the children.
Okay, I'm going to relapse now.
Over.
Yep, same.
Are we on to single moms already?
Oh, not yet. I'm working on it.
They're the cause of all problems in society.
I actually had a question for Dusty, if that was okay.
Absolutely.
So, and I think everyone's first reaction is going to be to like jump on me, but just try to listen.
You're pretty.
I usually like to jump on men.
I've been thinking about it all night.
Me first.
So my question is,
I get to jump on him first.
My preference, if I had to choose, would be a woman that is risk adverse, right? Because if there's going to be risk taken on in the relationship, I would like to be the one taking it on. If she takes it on, that's just causing more chaos for me.
I agree with that.
And if we look at it, don't jump, but about the most dangerous thing a woman could do is have a one-night stand. If she doesn't, if she doesn't know the guy, or if she barely knows the guy, and she's going to be alone with him and give him what I would believe is the most vulnerable space that she can share with somebody, to me, that doesn't sound like a very risk-adverse individual, whereas somebody that has a lower body count, or somebody like the 10-year chick with 10 bodies, I think that's super low. To me, that sounds like a risk-adverse individual, and I would want that. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think that you have constructed an accurate paradigm here. The only point that I disagree with is that has any causal bearing on why high body counts are unattractive. I think it is absolutely an after the fact justification, and I don't believe that justification is needed for this sort of thing. But
so
again,
here's the question: what if I had a high body count in my 20s, and then throughout my 30s and 40s I had a zero body count?
Well, then you're fine. It offsets, right? You get good time in jail, like you have good body count time, so it actually starts.
So you just hit the wall, then you want credit for hitting the wall? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is that she can actually unsuck that dick, but I want to hear the response.
Hold on, listen. My walls are good. Okay, I don't know what wall you're talking about.
Sasquatch is laughing because he concurs. But what's the response to my response? I think that was Derek that asked me, but I'm not.
Yeah. So I agree with you that this isn't the thought that runs through my head while I'm making a decision to be for or against somebody's body count. But the conversation doesn't seem to, like, it's visceral, just like you said, right? So like I see a girl, I'm talking to her, and then out of nowhere she's like 90 men, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't have to think about that. I was just done with it. But the conversation doesn't seem to progress very much whenever we say it's just a gut feeling, right? So this is me kind of trying to come on the back end and say, well, do you
Come on the
this
back
is
end.
the reason?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I if you conversationally I see, but I don't know. I think that clarity of understanding, unless you're like trying to win a debate, right? I think that in this context, I see your point, but I'm going to go with clarification of understanding. I think that there are tons and tons of men running around thinking wrong things because they're thinking along the lines that you just laid out. It makes perfect internal sense. It just doesn't apply to reality.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
it.
I also want to point out that I do not think that wanting a woman with a low body count or whatever other preference you have, I don't think any of that needs to ever be justified at all. At all.
You know, about 10 years ago, I had a lady out in the smoking area. I told some people this story before. Oh, I thought you were done.
I am.
Oh, and she said, mentioned about my husband. And she goes, "Oh, what a waste." And until this panel, I was insulted by that. And now I understand what she was talking about. Because the things that I'm hearing some of these, like, these guys saying about, her body count and stuff, bro, albino dude there and autism fucking Jack, like, neither one of you guys is ever going to get a quality woman. Your attitudes,
bro, you're a
when
homo.
you're even talking about this.
Yeah,
like,
dude, you're a total degen.
No
What's the
woman
kind
is
of woman
ever
that would
going
be
to
attracted to you anyway?
You're a homo.
Like you're
What are you
you're,
talking about,
you're,
dude?
you're getting the
I could
leftovers.
get,
man.
At least
I
at
could
least
get
I have a
tons of
discuss
women if
factor
I
like
wanted
that.
to. I'm just not dealing with their nonsense that's mostly propagated by you.
Yeah,
Like,
you've
if-
got
As the
low
homo.
standards.
I had to
As
deal.
the
If
homo.
I had to deal with a woman that used to be your girlfriend, the trauma that she would
I
have just
discarded them.
Yeah,
interacting
but you
with
wear
you.
heels on the weekends. Like, who cares?
Please take my leftovers. They're yours.
I mean, it
You have,
that'll
like,
that'll
you have a profile picture or something I can rifle through? You can't just throw that out there without a picture. Nobody knows what they're getting into.
You truly know what it means.
You might have terrible taste, Hanson.
I do. I have awful taste. I have no standards. So
We need to have a hit in the wall celebration. I just want to just put that out there.
You want to
We need to have a wall celebration of like the
need to
wall,
have a
Wow.
terrible celebration.
with, like glitter on the wall, like glitter on
Glitter.
I got glitter.
Are you trying to hit those walls as fast as possible?
I'll hit both of them. I have no issues with that. Front, back, center. You know how it
Nothing
is.
wrong with hitting them walls, man. You know what I'm saying? Hit them walls.
You're small enough, you got to
Right.
pick, though. You know what I'm saying? Just hit one wall at a time.
Hey, yo, it's her hallway and my hot dog. You stay out of it.
It's just I love how these guys are acting like they're what were those two brothers in the Romania thing?
Oh,
The Tates.
Like they're acting like they're like multi-millionaires and they got so much going on and they got to have that great woman because they're such a high value man. Like, do you not understand how foolish you look on an international stage on this panel right now? The
Just
things that
in-
you're saying, like it's all fine and
FYI,
dandy for.
Clive, your mic is kind of popping a little in and out. I don't know if you're like
Because you
moving
got all that
around.
steaming on
I had
it.
a question. I had a question for Dusty.
10th man, turn off your echo cancellation, turn it right back on. It should clear
Clean
it
the jizz off of your microphone, gay man.
Just make sure y'all put y'all moon water out for the thing. You know, these wall hitters. All this
Moon water?
Moon water. What the fuck is moon water?
I don't want to get mood burned tonight, baby. Come on.
I would
It's
like
a
to
red,
ask,
it's a
I
red
would like
moon
to ask
and an
10th
eclipse
man,
tonight.
Hold on,
10th
somebody
man,
had a
whenever
question
you get
for
your
me.
microphone. Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Dusty. I just want to know, like, where do you think that ick comes from?
Is that better now?
Maybe. And before we get into the, oh wait, I was trying to add somebody and I realized we have 10 people on panel.
I'll
so
go. But is it better
no,
now
you're-
though?
You're fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to. They can wait. There's always plenty of people waiting back there all the time, but you're fine. Don't worry.
I think the ick I think the ick comes from the fact that women are to a degree trophies or whatever. They're status symbols in a way, and so if you've got one that's been ran through, it's less of it. That's the component. It's the trophy component. That's
Yeah,
her.
so you're saying the feeling is like the automatic drop of thinking that she's a potential to like, nope.
What I'm saying is do you, if like let's use an extreme, a corn star. Do you want to if you start dating a corn star, are you going to enjoy now somebody's feedback? Do you want to take a chick to like your family get together if you know that every dude in the room has watched her get fucked by somebody else? Absolutely not.
No,
That
so
actually sounds
it would be
kind of fun.
disrespect to my family to even.
You're so weird.
That's what the chair is for.
Like, what do you mean the chair? Like the electric chair? What type of chair are we talking?
The corner.
Did you
chair
say you wouldn't
have
disrespect your family like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't disrespect my family like that.
So have you asked your mom her body count?
No, I haven't.
Hold on. So it's wrong.
I don't
It's
wanna-
wrong. It's wrong to be in porn, but it's okay to watch porn. See, I can't. I can't draw the lines.
I didn't make that claim at all.
I want to hear what Edgelord has to say about that. He's an incel. What do you think about it, Edgelord?
In terms of like porn or
bring home a porn star.
Is your hands body count high? Yeah,
He just keeps killing the same body.
You've jerked off at least 3 times a day.
Are women volunteering their body count
Sure.
nowadays?
No.
Do they volunteer their body count?
Yeah, they do actually. There's a chick named Bonnie Blue, I think. Lily Phillips. They're doing
Well,
like
it
these
used to
super
be-
Guinness World Records
That's
stuff
not an
going-
anecdote.
It used to be men would not tell
You're muted.
on they would. I'm not muted, am I?
Sarah is.
Dusty's trolling.
Oh. Sarah's
Tomato
muted.
is tomato.
I was just saying, men. It used to be that men would not tell.
Sarah,
have
still
sex
muted,
with
Sarah.
themselves.
I can't hear you.
Still
can't hear
muted.
nothing you're saying. I'm sorry.
You look pretty talking though.
No, but I would say this is that men
better
wouldn't even
when you
ask a
can't
woman's
hear you.
age, let alone her body count. I don't know where all this audacity
What's your
comes
body
from.
count?
asking a person,
Here's
None of
the-
your mother effing business. Kiki.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about everybody on the panel say their body count? Just put up or shut up.
No, I'm straight.
No,
Between
that
50
is
and
what's
60, but
wrong.
that's chicks
what's
and
wrong.
dudes.
That's what's
Gaily
wrong.
forward,
Everybody
demonstrate.
volunteering their body
I
count.
think that
is
people need to like,
stupid.
yeah, exactly.
Wait, I think I heard Edgelord say 0. Did you say 0, Edgelord?
Thank you, Rock.
Hey,
yeah,
Edgelord,
body
good for
count,
you.
Nobody's
No, but
business.
I'm
Good for
scared
you,
that-
Edgelord. Keep it that
Y'all
way,
are
bro.
all in your like 30s or something.
What kind of a
Y'all ain't
relationship
20s
coach
or whatever.
advocates celibacy?
Do you really want the answer, Dusty?
I asked the question.
Hey, listen, if you get
Right,
a
because
rose,
you're likely less to compare women. You're likely less to open an insatiable side of yourself. You're more likely to focus your sexual relationship, and it'll be a lot more intimate with the partner you finally lay
I
down
know
with.
that you're not going to answer this, but you're a virgin, aren't you?
Definitely not.
Is there something wrong with celibacy, Flo?
Who hurt you?
Yes. I think that there is at a certain point. I think that if you look at us biologically, what are our peak reproductive years? Somewhere between like, I don't know, 15 and 25, right?
Yep.
So if you're saying, let's say people are getting married now at 29 on average, right? If you're thinking that you want let's say, not even say virgin, somebody who's had 2 bodies, let's say, you find the golden ticket, you're 29, you meet a chick, she's 28, she's got 2 bodies, right? This is what somebody like James is looking for. This is somebody who's gone through and is past their biological reproductive years without ever having made a sexual, really any sexual contact with other people. I think that is probably more unhealthy than having some bodies scattered around in there.
Yeah, it'd be way more healthy to shack up with the women and marry them when they're like 19.
I agree. I think that we keep people as kids for too long into their life, but yeah.
Or
Yeah,
a woman that
children-
say a woman that's like 35 and like only had like a 0 body count. Like, what would you think about that?
That's weird.
She's
That,
good.
that's some
She's
frozen shot
probably-
of Sarah.
I mean,
Sarah,
it
you're
is
frozen
pushing
on
it. Her
gas.
eggs are like almost no longer scrambled.
She'd be so grateful.
But,
I want to meet that chick.
but like she's still a
Hold
hot
on.
ticket for
What was this?
more
What was this
on-
about the ladies' eggs being scrambled? Could you repeat that, please?
If she's
But she's no body count. What,
she's
what difference does it
35
make?
and she has no bodies, her eggs are almost not able to be scrambleable. But she's a hot ticket item for men around that age.
And
For
what
sure.
I'm saying is that should not be a hot ticket item. That woman probably has. I don't think that you get through 35 years of life without ever having.
mental illness, like some kind of like.
That's
Yeah,
hang up.
Right. So here's this. I think this is a problem because we have like a tradition here. It's usually like a Christian thing for a long part of the American history, and that would have been completely normal in that society. But
Christians are not good sources for sexual advice. Look at priests.
Okay,
Well, I
you're
actually
saying
agree with James.
A 35-year-old woman that probably have no body count.
Uh-huh.
So at what point does the body count reach past the point of it's getting weird now?
Oh,
Like,
okay.
okay, so
It's weirder,
got below
weirder to
at
have
20,
no bodies
but
at 35 than it is to have
35,
100.
you have 0. Like, okay, now that's weird.
That's weird, yeah.
You're saying like at what point does your body count not matter? And you've like
It's
maybe
a very
when
complex
you've
equation of how many and how quickly. So like 20 men in 1 week is way worse than 50 men over the course of 10 years, right? So it's not just a
I don't know.
number. It's well, come on,
Yeah,
20 men in 1 week is
But
pretty
he
crazy.
just said 0 in a course of
If you have
20
made it
years.
35 years with no sexual partners, that is weird.
don't
Yeah.
let this DJ.
Well, there's a place for those kind of people.
No,
onto your bodies.
listen to somebody. If you make it through the entirety of your sexual prime and you're almost not reproductively viable, that if you make
Right,
it through
so
that
it's-
thing, that is emotionally and mentally destructive for people.
No,
It's like
you're going-
feminism.
okay,
It's
so
like
if you-
it's like feminism, where
This-
women
this guy
prioritize
throws
things
away
higher than
most-
reproduction.
Listen,
Right.
It's not healthy.
most
Those
conventional
so
wisdom, he
Christian
throws
culture
away
has a way to
most
deal with that,
So
James.
there's a
And I was going to agree
contradiction
with you if you'd shut up for a second.
Okay.
You could stick those women in a convent and put them to work doing something good, or some sort of place where they're separated from society and not a model for younger women, because that's a really bad model. That those women should have reproduced.
So that's not to say that a woman who has 0 bodies. If we just take the
That is unnatural, and it is.
If I can't make the argument because Dusty's
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, you crybaby. Here, I'll
All right,
mute.
so if a woman has 0 bodies and she's 35, there may be cases where she might have a issue. Maybe she was molested as a kid, and so that's what might have made her stay. That,
Oh my God! How come you guys don't let me talk for
No,
15 minutes?
kid
I mean,
is cool.
I can't make the
Watch
argument
the
'cause you guys-
TOS, James. Don't say that word.
I didn't know.
You don't know how
My
panels
apologies.
worked until.
I didn't know. Dusty, chill out. I didn't know.
No, I won't chill out. You're not going to get me to chill out by telling me to chill out. The thing that you just suggested as an example of an exception is actually a trauma. That's actually an issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's an example of somebody being fucked up.
Yeah, so I was agreeing with you in that sense, but it still upset you. I didn't even get to finish my
Or
argument.
they might have been very.
You need to just
highly,
be,
like.
you can't figure out
You
the
just
tempo
can't
of
be
the panel.
patient because you're too busy trying to drink grapefruit juice in the back, man. Chill
Well,
out.
I agree. It's not natural
What if
for
a mother is very
35-year-old
highly
to be a
protective of her
virgin.
child?
not
I wish I was a
married to one.
grapefruit.
That's gotta be-
He's not going to eat you.
I think the generations have become too picky on who they marry. Like they're looking for a perfect woman, and so they wait too long. They get married too late, and they should get married at a younger age. And it's not natural for a woman to get married at 35 and start that relationship. And it's like it's a societal condition that's been spread that women should get a job and get their career going first, and then start a family. And that's wrong.
Yeah, women shouldn't
Yeah.
have to work. You're right, James. They should be in the home having babies like they're supposed to. But that's not how society is now. It's broken.
Yeah, and I would agree with both you guys, but Rocky, I would say I think men should probably be more picky, and they should let the women with high body counts, the ones who pout about it, just let them die off. There's an 18-year-old born.
I never knew my wife's
them
body
die.
count. I didn't ask her body count, and she didn't ask me my body count.
I'm the only
We
other one I know.
fell
Good for
in
you.
love, and we got
Good for
married,
you.
and I've been married for 45 years or so. I have some children and stuff, and we got married pretty young, like
And
24.
James's suggestion is
23
ironic as
maybe.
shit, though, because the people having sex are not the ones dying out.
Yeah,
That's the ones waiting forever to have.
Well, you're right. I can agree to that point that the people, if you're not going to have sex, you're obviously not going to procreate. But if we're looking at the ways American society is going right now, we're at a birth rate of about 1.6. That's below replacement. So whatever policies, whatever advice you're subscribing or prescribing for is obviously leaving America to a shithole as it stands right now.
What the fuck policies do you think I'm prescribing?
Right. So go have sex whenever you want. Don't
James,
care about body count.
Can I ask you?
Don't care about being a virgin.
Those
and
are-
all
that's-
well,
that's
I'll-
what's
so I
causing-
can't make the argument. I can't make the argument, right, Dusty? Because you just
You
can't.
are such a whiny little bitch.
No, you just-
Can you just
your
talk
demons-
and have the
your demons
conversation?
just can't-
Children.
Floor for your weird
your
ass.
Your demons just can't help but talk. So once again, keep having sex out of
Dusty
wedlock.
demon.
Don't care about virginity.
I wish Sarah was here to
As many
put the
bodies
two of
as
us
you
up.
want, and then what happens to the world?
Right,
what
that's
happens-
what I
what's
do.
happening now? You have a
You
bunch
need
of
to
baby-
do a Bible study, Dusty.
Right. So you have a bunch of baby mamas around. You basically have a bunch of black ghettos. That type of environment is what you're gonna supplant on the rest of the
Bunch
world.
of
If you
black
follow this
ghettos?
guy's, if you follow this guy's ideology right here, Dusty.
So, I'm
Flo.
gonna give you an example. Yvonne Orji from Insecure. She's the actual actress that was on HBO, right? She actually was a virgin all the way till she was.
Put me and the
35.
albino up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
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 Amen.
Hey, Dusty,
All right.
which one of y'all are more powdered?
Speed date.
He is.
I mean, the lighting is making him look whiter at the moment.
Okay, so tell me how my demons are making. Come on.
All right. So the point is, Dusty, what you're arguing for is be indiscriminate with who you lay down with. It doesn't necessarily matter how many bodies you have. If you're a virgin, you actually might have a problem. So that's going to convince people to probably put on more bodies. And from my
Is
understanding,
that what I'm arguing? Or is that the
Once
straw
again-
man that you're gonna put up?
Dusty, every time I try and argue and advocate for a position that holds women of more chaste or men at the same standard, you take issue with that every time.
I have issues with all of your standards because you are sexually
It's
repressed.
because I'm whiter than you.
Weird.
It's because
Look.
I'm whiter than you and I have more privilege. That's what it's about.
Because what?
I'm whiter than you and I have more privilege.
But you still look more like a black man than me.
'cause I'm- All right, Dusty, what's
that's,
your
not,
argument?
that's not what I'm arguing for. What I'm telling you is that I don't know why you're coming at this from a Puritan angle. You're not focused on is this on the topic, right? The sex, the relationships. That's just an aspect of your Puritan moral positioning. Do you disagree?
I think it's part of it, but it's not just Puritan, it's principle. And I'm trying to apply a certain standards consistently across the board. But for people like you who just want to sling dick and play reverse whack-a-mole with your wiener, of course you're going to take issue with that.
That's what all of us with working dicks want. Some of you reject yourselves and hate yourselves for it. Some of us recognize that maybe God made us this way to have sex drives, and it's not actually terrible.
But Dusty, just because I can agree with you in the sense that, hey, look, we have urges. But so what? I got an urge when somebody cuts me off on a 210. Am I going to smack them upside the head when I get out the car? I have an urge when somebody disrespects me to want to fight. Should I indulge with that? No, we don't all indulge with every urge we have. That's why we have principles that keep us in line and in check. And that's how society is supposed to get back to. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah. So I would point out two things. One, principles. You're basically by saying it's principles. Yeah, you're agreeing with me. It's Puritanism. But I think it's very telling that you compared having sex with acts of violence both times. That exposes how you see sex. That is an unhealthy paradigm. It's hateful for yourself and for other humans. You need to fix that perspective. It's your own neurosis.
Well, Dusty, to argue or to respond to that point, just because I have an analogy and I put two and two things like each other, that does not mean they're equal. So just because I can draw similarities, that does not mean they're the same. Good sir, Mr. Pope. I hear you're dying. I hear you're about to be dying in like
No,
2 months.
I started my own religion.
What's
Only
religion?
demons here. Anyways, okay. So you don't think that you see sex as a sin?
Sex outside of marriage, it is a sin. That's what I believe.
And is that how you approach your dating advice, your relationship coaching, everything that we've discussed here today?
If I was to bring on somebody as a coach, I would say, hey, look, this is what I would recommend. But if you're gonna disregard that, I would at least recommend you to try the next safest option.
But you're not serving. I mean, you're serving two masters. That's the point I'm getting at. And your primary master is your religious or principled position. It's not
How am I serving two masters? If I tell someone to lie
What-
less, if
what
I tell
is-
you to lie less, if you're gonna lie, don't lie too much.
Because
Don't
what
lie
is
more than-
sexually,
Go ahead.
psychologically, and interpersonally healthy, and what the church or the Bible says, are frequently at odds.
So what do you mean by health? What are you talking about? So a person who has a lot of indiscriminate sex is a healthy person.
I would
by
say that
virtue of
that person is healthier than somebody who's sworn a vow of chastity.
Look, I ain't saying swear. Look, this is. I'll draw two. I want to distinct.
Okay, you're going to say you're not Catholic, but it's
Yeah,
it's
I'm
all
not- I'm not
the same
Catholic.
foundation.
And I'm not. I don't agree with men not having sex as pastors. I think if you're called to do that, yeah, but it should not be a requirement. So I mean, I don't see how I'm serving two masters by saying, "Hey, look, if you're going to sin less." This is as simple as that.
Because if somebody comes to you and wants your advice on how to get chicks, you're going to give them advice that's quantified.
I would say, hey, look, don't try and get chicks. Get a chick, because I don't want you to be a degenerate. Get a chick.
Right.
We're not here to like freaking scarf as much popcorn at the movie theater. We're here to freaking have a happy, healthy relationship, and not have a society like the Pope wants over here.
I don't think that you can have a happy, healthy relationship if you don't know what's in a bad relationship or how they go.
But
you might get lucky.
Okay. So what do you mean by experience bad relationships? What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that when I got divorced, that was one of the most, and I'm not suggesting going through divorces is required for everybody, but just to illustrate the point, getting divorced taught me a whole lot of things about me, what I'm like in relationships, where I'm not perfect as well, and what I do and don't want in a spouse. When we got together, I was mostly concerned about her tits. They were great. But I had to experience a bad relationship to sort of understand even my own priorities. Now, my case might be, I'm not saying that everybody needs to get married and get divorced, but I do think that there is something there that you can't know what a good relationship is if you haven't, to some extent, experienced a bad one.
No, Dusty, I would sympathize with the position and your experience, but I would push back a little bit by saying this is the reason why we have religions, is because they help us basically archive loads of experiences that we can pass on to the next generation. And that's how the parent teaches the child, the adult, the mentor teaches the apprentice. You would counsel your son when he asks you what to do, and you would use that as a reference point in order to encourage him not to go through it, but to learn and be wise and learn the mistakes of his father or someone around him, so that he doesn't have the mistakes himself. This is wisdom. This is wisdom when you
People
apply
do
it.
have to learn mistakes themselves.
Let me interrupt you, gentlemen, just for a moment, just for some logistical purposes here. I am officially shutting down the Raging Tomatoes side. Everybody, please follow the link over. We're going to continue. It should raid you as well, but start heading over to the Gauntlet if you want to continue.
If you're on my side, it'll still go.
Saga.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dusty,
if you're
Dusty, I
watching
appreciate the
from
exchange.
if you're watching from Powder Dusty, you're fine where you are. Otherwise, just ladies and gentlemen, follow the link over. You'll
Did you see my demon lick her face?
All right.
I wish it wouldn't do that.
Hey man, kudos to you, bro. All right, I'll see you.
I think that we're humans, and sex is, well, it's like the foundational part of any biological, sexually reproductive organism, right? It's a massive, massive part of life, and I think that and I'm not talking about you, even though the shoe does fit. The Puritan, self-repressing, self-hating culture that comes with Christianity, but not as, and also Islam, really, a lot of religions, that is self-destructive, that perspective. And I think it does more harm than good. Now, I'm not saying that being a complete slut is good. It's not. But I think that when you've got a culture that is way extreme into the purity side, it doesn't give people any sort of a lay of the land, right? They don't understand how the grade of sexual relationships, and so it just seems like, in my experience, anecdotally, it looks to me like people who are raised in that background come out swinging the other side because they have no concept of self-control. It's just in or it's out. But
Dusty, I could say perhaps that experience isn't Like perhaps they were just an outlier. Another thing is like
Everybody knows that church girls are freaky as fuck.
look, all I'm here to do is try and apply the principles and try and submit to those principles. And because you and I have such a different worldview, we're going to be antagonistic in nature. You know what I'm saying? Our principles are different, so we're always going to clash eventually. Just how it is.
Do you think that tension is sexual, James?
I ain't trying to lay down with no pope.
Oh man! Oh,
pause on that.
Holy smoke! I need to behave.
Yeah, you got the pope
Good
watch.
luck, brother.
How was your golf game today?
That means
oh
it was
my
really
God, I'm
good.
not. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! I need to behave. Oh shit!
Good
Yeah,
luck.
man. The pope's watching you, but more
God.
importantly,
You gotta watch the language, Spurs.
All right, and let me just kind of throw it out there. Welcome officially to the Gauntlet. The Raging Tomato is kind of shifting gears where we will host more open panels open on the Gauntlet, and the debates will stay on the Raging Tomato. But we're in the transitional process where we have to actually try to kind of maneuver everybody over that way. And so we're in transitional stages getting there. But eventually, once I open the panels, then we will only be streaming on the Gauntlet and not over on Raging Tomato. So just so everybody's aware of that, if you're watching from the Gauntlet side, please be sure to subscribe there. That's the only way we're going to boost that channel, get that job done. But all of the open panels will eventually only be there. So thank you for everybody for following the link over and going through that. All right, back to your argument.
Is that your panel, Sarah?
The Gauntlet, yeah.
Oh,
I just want to point out before we move on that everybody would find it very creepy if I said, hey, 18-year-olds are born every day.
I think if anyone said
It's just a literal fact of life. I'm sorry to offend you.
What this James guy said earlier about
Sorry
getting
to
a
offend you.
virgin.
It's just a
And I'm
fact
like,
of life.
wow, if I said that, that'd be wrong.
Who am I speaking to? This is the same
Never
dude
been
who has
born,
like,
sir.
is this the same sexually repressed dude that I'm arguing with? Is that
Yes,
you,
yes,
Steve
I'm
Brown?
very sexually repressed.
All right. Well, I mean,
Angry.
I'm sorry. I'm just pointing to a fact that it bothers you. I'm sorry.
The other day, I had to refrain from when I didn't watch. I didn't watch it, but for the first time ever, I ran into Zombie Prom, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not watching that."
We found a line that to draw.
What the heck, man?
That is an interesting line in the sand, sir. What made you
I
decide?
saw
not
it there. I saw it, and I was like, "What is that? Are those zombies having sex?"
Wait
And
till you
I'm
hear
like,
my
"Nope."
horn.
I clicked right off that. I'm like, "Nope, I don't want it."
Hey, man. God bless you, man.
Are you going to go back? Though? I bet you're going to go back because you're thinking about it.
He
still.
is.
I've thought about it a lot, and I nope, no way.
There's a
Yeah,
zombie
Monitor.
movie with
He's
zombie
probably looking at
strippers.
it right now.
Sarah, you
Yes.
don't have monetization, so how do I kick someone off panel?
So we still have
Yeah, you can
Cash
send it on my side, and I'll keep it.
he doesn't have the power to boot. So we can still do the Cash App. Naomi, do
But
you
I have the power to
Cash App?
interrupt.
You can drop in there in the
So
chat.
you only need so many more. You get to 500, which is not very far away. You can monetize. Is that it?
That, but you also have to have the watch hours too. Here you go. She's
Oh,
got it right there. Yeah, on
can
this
help you with
on
that.
this, thank you, Guns,
500.
as
That's
well.
your body count, isn't it?
Guns dropped the link if you want to click the link directly, or if you want to type it in, there you go too. But yeah, this side we're Cash App only right now. That's why again we're kind of in transition. We kind of have to play with both of them right now.
Taught her everything she knows.
So I
He
don't
did.
have a cell phone, so I can't use Cash App.
Why are you so poor?
You don't have Cash App?
This is the trans channel.
You can, okay, so you can also still super chat Rocky a comment on any video, any prior video. You can leave a super thanks, I think they're called. You could do that too if you still want to super chat.
All right.
Either way.
You're almost there. You
Get
gotta
that money, Sarah.
How about if I promise to send you $10 and kick
Dun, dun, dun.
I thought you've used Cash App before.
I try it, but I got a new computer and I don't have a cell phone.
He's
so
old.
it's harder
So
for
leave
me
him alone.
to.
He'll
And I
take
don't
you-
have a cell phone on purpose, Flo.
Because you're
How
poor.
do you-
I don't want to be tracked around everywhere the fuck I go.
Wait, is,
Yeah,
is
he-
Melanie back
He's
from
been
being
way too
banned
much
for like,
online to not be tracked.
is Melanie back from being banned for like 2 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah,
back from
and
Christmas.
and
I'm
I
waiting for that- I'm waiting
apologize,
for that
Melanie. I apologize, Mel, because I have no idea what the timer left off at because my
It's
whole
okay.
shit just shut down. But I'm just gonna presume it's up now.
Mel,
I
what's
played
your body
Tetris and
count?
got totally lost in it. Of men or women?
Both.
Dun, dun, dun.
I haven't counted, and I don't care to.
That's tough.
I got a funny feeling it's pretty close to gross.
At some point, that odometer, it just doesn't even matter anymore.
Wait, is negative numbers possible?
There's
How do
not
you- how do you undo a
Men
body?
don't count their bodies. Women count their bodies.
With enough prayer and fasting, I think a negative body count is possible.
Yeah, the Dusty will sell you some indulgences to fix that.
Oh yeah, they're cheap. They're $1 per body.
Well, one of the purposes.
You
for
can
marriage
roll
is
that
to-
bitch back to zero for probably most of you probably like 50 cents, honestly. Because that
You guys
handout
gonna
you got
look out the
doesn't count.
window and see the eclipse, man. Don't let it get past without seeing the eclipse. It's already begun. It's gorgeous.
Oh, is it going on right now?
It's going on literally right
Yeah.
now.
Joe
Yeah,
Cool,
I
the
think it-
astronomer.
I think it's supposed to be 2:30 for East Coast time.
That'll be
Man,
fall.
I saw the
Space
solar
Cadet.
eclipse last year, and since then, like, yeah, it's mid.
Well, it's
Melanie,
supposed to be
Melanie,
like
yeah,
a red.
question.
It's a red moon.
Yeah, a blood moon too, man.
Oh, man, I've
and
seen
it's
that
a
since I
full
was a
moon.
kid.
How is this
Yeah,
shit
you need
dead?
to touch some grass, dude. That ain't.
You
good.
got high expectations.
Dude, I did so much
yeah.
astronomy as a kid. Actually, I was all into like the constellations and seeing galaxies and stuff. I just never had a good telescope.
Mel, where's your question at, man? Or woman?
Oh, thank you for respecting that. So my thing is like, do you expect? So you said you're a dating coach, so you're helping people have sex more.
No, trying to get a partner, like for settling
Okay.
down with, not for like spreading your seed or dicking around for no reason. I don't support
Well,
that.
okay, that's at least better because I think what bothers me about a lot of pickup artists is that they'll shame women, but at this and tell them to keep their body count low, but at the same time tell men to up their body count. And I hope you realize how that creates like a difference in demand and supply. Like that's just economics.
Yeah, basically the person who's advocating for women to have low body counts are ruining it for the men who want to keep themselves chaste. Yeah, you're basically adding on bodies to the entire pool. So in theory, it's like bad. It's bad math.
So you would
I
at
agree.
least say that like men also shouldn't be sluts.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Okay, that's fair. That's I was
You
trying to
didn't
ask
even
that
have
more
to
or less
ask them
earlier.
that. You knew that without asking them. Yeah.
Yeah, but men are different than women biologically. Like I don't know what the hell y'all are talking about sometimes because like when I was when I hit puberty and I had all that testosterone or whatever, I didn't really give a crap about any of this stuff. It was more like I didn't have a choice. I smelled a woman I had to go hunting after.
That's
So
a
I don't
good
know what the hell y'all
point,
talking
man.
about.
Men's sex drive is greater. Perhaps we're meant to have more bodies.
Well,
Well,
actually,
yeah,
interestingly enough, there are
Uh-huh.
more parts of like a man's brain that can be like overtaken by like their sex drive. Women seem to be able to have like more thought control in those instances. but generally speaking, they can both have like equally strong sex drive. They can both be equally.
No, I
strongly
wasn't
driven
arguing that. But
by
you
their
get my
hormones.
point.
Practically, how does that play out, Mill? You and I both know women are more selective when it comes to who they're going to sleep with. So they not only do they have a literal incentive to not lay down with everybody, because somebody could hit them upside the head with a billy club. Somebody that they don't respect can get them pregnant. There's many reasons why they wouldn't want to lay down. So I think
the argument is that
go ahead.
women should feel safe to be able to do that if they so choose, right? And that's what feminists really argue for is sexual liberation.
I reject all of feminism. But I wanted to ask you the question. Well, following up to the last
even women
question,
getting educated.
Well,
that's
before I answer that, I wanted to ask you the question that was pertinent to the line of questioning before. You said that it's cool that men advocate for other men not sleeping around, but I think the problem you have there is the market pressure is you're not applying the correct market pressure, because it's the women who you should be arguing with to make sure that they are with men who don't have high bodies, because the women are the one who have more of an influential dictation on what men want.
That's a good argument.
So the woman
Unless
wants
men are
X,
gay.
the man. Yeah, you're right. The woman wants X, the man's going to meet that need. So it's up to you to convince women to care more about men's body counts than it is for me to do that.
Don't you think that like both sides could do it though? Like here's the thing about men, right? It's like they're always like we're better than women, stuff like that. Like can't you do this if this is like your prerogative in the first place?
No, because I can't go against a man's nature. I can't show my pecs and be like, yeah, so
we go against our nature all the time.
How many times I'm explaining to you that there's a polarity of attraction that I can't get in the way of. I just have to roll with it, and I have to like with like judo. I'm not going to be the wall in front of it. I would actually try and convince women to care more. They should put the societal pressure on men.
I'm trying to understand something. So earlier I said that you got to figure out what if the Cinderella slipper fits, right? But then you said that sex isn't important. But that's all I hear anybody talking about, and it's almost like you guys can't hear yourself. See, because I'm a disgruntled viewer, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to understand how they're going to be able to figure out what they like sexually, who's compatible sexually, if they don't experience it. Like you're putting all this emphasis on sex like it's so important. Mm-hmm. But not taking into account the fact that you have to practice it. Like you're just like Flo said, you're being a purist where you're like, oh, and we'll just all go back to marrying when we're 18 and having a 3.5 kids and blah 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 blah, and it doesn't make any sense.
Before you respond, Mr. sends another $20 on Cash App and says, Furby to the back.
Thank you, Mr.
Furby, also, while you're back there, she did choose a donation fund to sometimes if Furby gets sent to the back and spends more time backstage than on stage, I choose a fundraiser, or I let her choose a fundraiser that I donate to. So I believe she has picked a doggy donation fund. So if you just, I responded, I just need either the link or how you want me to do that. Let me know.
Do you not have that still?
I didn't know. Well, that's why I was asking if you wanted me to send her a super comment for a donation, or I didn't know if she had a certain link for it.
Whatever you did last time, I'm sure it will be fine. She said she got it last time.
All right, we will hit up Josie's channel, send a super thanks, and that will be to the Doggy Fund on behalf of Melanie.
Amazing, and thank you to everyone who donated for that.
I didn't want to keep pushing through because I thought you had to read super chats or something. But what I was going to say in the end to it, sorry.
Go ahead.
It's just I got a funny feeling that this gentleman who's a life coach is really bad at sex. I've had a lot of sex.
I've had a lot of life coaches.
I've had a lot of sex with life coaches.
First off, I'm not a sex coach. And to answer the original line of questioning, which was about...
God, I can't believe I even got up here.
Shout out to you, bro. So You were
Nah,
talking
shout
about how
out-
come
yeah,
men.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, peace. So how come men? How come I'm saying we shouldn't care about sex, but then we should when it comes to body count, but then when we're in a marriage we shouldn't. I'm saying the way that you reconcile the two is that you have a series of priorities or principles or morals that take priority over the act itself. So if you're in a marriage, you know, and let's just say the sex isn't good, well, you prioritize the marriage more than your ability to ejaculate. So you're going to talk to your wife or your husband about how can we make this work for each other in a respectful manner towards your morals and towards God, whatever. And then when you're outside of a marriage, you can have a different standard. It's completely consistent.
I understand
So you're
all
okay-
the words that you're saying. I do.
Uh-huh.
You're supposed to sound like it would be a terrible nightmare from hell.
Right. So
if they,
you have
if,
an
they, if,
actual
they,
argument?
if they forgot to do the dishes, it's going to be a big deal. Like you sound very rigid. Like being around you is a nightmare.
Right.
What's your opinion,
so me
man,
being
about
rigid,
sex
me being rigid is
outside
saying
of outside of marriage? You okay, guy up top left with that?
well, Mr. Cool, I'm gonna answer your question, but to Mr. Tenth who's mouthing off. So you mean to tell me, hey, wife, my ability to have a good sexual experience with you, I'm not really okay with it. I want to see if we can work on this. That's being rigid, as opposed to, hey, look, I want to, instead of me wanting to talk about this with my wife, I'm gonna go lust after some other woman, go watch some porn, go flirt with my coworkers. What's a better
body count before
what's
marriage,
better for
right?
society, Tenth man? Which one?
We're talking about body count before marriage, though,
You don't
right?
wanna
We're
answer-
not talking about
so you
once
don't
you're
want to
married.
answer the question, right? You don't want to answer the question.
Because that's not what the discussion
Right, 'cause
is.
you're
We're not
dodging-
discussing
dodging
once
the
you're
main
married.
issue. You're dodging the main
I'd
issue.
like to
discussing
ask
once you're married.
James a few
See, you
questions.
know I backed into a corner. That's why you're
No,
changing
I'll
the
answer
discussion.
any question you
You
want.
lost. You
I'll
lost.
answer any question you want.
I'd like to ask James a couple questions.
Yes, Mr. If I could just answer Mr. Cool real quick.
Okay.
What do I think about sex
Sex
outside of marriage?
outside of marriage, which is kind of what
it's
10th
bad.
man
It's
is
bad.
saying
It's
as
what the
well.
Bible says is bad. Is how I perceive it. Logically, it's bad. That's my opinion.
All right, that's what I was asking. 10th man had said, you had said in response to 10th man, you had said that during marriage you can go talk to your person, and outside of marriage you can have a different opinion. But that's the only reason I asked that. Outside of marriage, you think a motherfucker should be virgin until marriage, yeah?
I mean, you should strive to be, but I know
All
not
right,
everybody can
all
do
right,
it.
all right.
I know not everybody. It's pretty
So,
hard at the moment.
how about if you have sex with your intended other and eventually marry them?
But
Would
yeah,
that-
what do you think about that?
Right.
I mean, if that's what works for you, I
Let me know
wouldn't
when
promote it.
I can
I wouldn't
ask
promote
my
it.
You want to promote it? Okay, that's honest answer.
Go ahead, Mr. Rock.
Okay. Do you agree that are you a Christian?
Yes.
Clearly.
Okay, you know the New Testament where Paul says that one of the reasons to get married is because we have urges as men, and so to satisfy those urges, you
So
get
as not
married.
burn.
So
Yeah.
and another how
Well, that's the worst thing to
okay,
do. Women never
so
put
what
up.
I'm trying to
Hold on.
how do you know a body count from a woman? Does she volunteer that to you? Are you saying that how do you
No.
determine when
Go ahead. Sorry, sir.
how do you determine that? How are you determining that?
I would outright ask eventually.
Okay,
but
that's
I would,
one of your problems because you don't ask a woman that.
Why don't I? Why
You're
don't I?
probably not going to get married
Right.
if you ask all your dates your body count.
Sarah, is that
I'm here-
inappropriate
I'm
to
here
ask
trying
a
to-
woman
if you're
her
scared to
body
do it,
count?
if you're scared to do it,
As a Christian, I want to give you some advice. Don't ask women their body counts. Okay.
Yeah, and as
That's
another
my
Christian, I
first
stand in
advice.
direct opposition to this guy.
Okay, that's just my first advice. Don't do that.
Sarah, can you ask
How
a
old are
woman
you
her
now?
body
And then
count,
I
or
got
is it
another-
tacky?
how
Hold
old
on,
are
Rocky,
you?
please.
I think
I'm 32, sir. 32, sir.
I think it's very tacky, especially if you're like in the beginning stages of dating.
Yes.
Because then you're just concerned about her vagina at that point. We already know that. We're fully aware. We're not stupid. But then you're like utilizing that as some type of weapon against her or for her or to get into it.
I've
or
never asked a
whatever.
woman her body count. That's never.
I've
never.
I've never
I
been
did
asked my
get cut
body
off. I
count.
did get cut off as soon as I said Yes, I was.
Yeah, I did, and
I
I'm sorry, but
No,
I
that
wanted the
wasn't you.
woman's. No,
wasn't you.
I muscled in a bit there. I wanted the woman's opinion before the moment passed.
Okay, now I got another question, James.
Well, real quick, Rocky, just to complete my statement
Okay.
on body count. On the onset, obviously, it's not wise to do it. We're at Chipotle, and I'm like, hey, so what's your body count? No, you have to glean these things. You have to ease on to the conversation. You got to charm it. There has to be a level of tact. That's all I was saying.
Okay, then my next question. This is another Christian type question. Are you not told to forgive? I mean, if you did find a woman, would you not forgive her for something like that? Maybe move on, because you probably are not celibate. You probably have had. Is she supposed to forgive you? Are you supposed to forgive her? Can you just move on with your life and what's past is past, what's now is now?
I would argue you can forgive, but that doesn't mean you have to get in a relationship with somebody. I can forgive somebody for letting me down, and as far as disappointment, because I thought they were going to be the one, and I can still
Yeah.
love them from a distance. That doesn't mean I have to wed them.
I
So-
know, but
Derek, why do you think it's such a bad thing to ask a woman's body count when you first meet her? Because if you're looking for a woman who's not a slut, then that would be the instant way to find out. Because if she has a problem telling you, then she's obviously not the woman you're looking for, and you can move on quicker. It seems like a better idea if it's something you care about to bring it up immediately.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So are you going to tell her your body count when you first meet?
Why not?
If it's body count for body count, I don't see what's wrong with that. I ain't got a problem with that. I'm not like. Here's the thing, Mr. Rocky. You're right. A lot of women are going to take issue with that, but I would argue that in and of itself is something you should look into. It could be a potential red flag, because if somebody is not okay with disclosing it, all right. Well, I mean,
If she laughs at you when you tell her your body count because it's too low, or if it's like low, would you take offense to that?
I mean, I think it would be kind of interesting that she would want me to have a high body count. It's
I'm just teasing.
so like if women have issues with this, you would think that might be something wrong with her mindset, how she processed her past experiences, her ideas on sex, and where her morals are at. Those are things that might not be congruent, and that might give you more evidence as to why you might not even want to consider this person as a partner if they're taking issue with such a. I mean, it's a hot topic, but it's almost akin to, who did you vote for? What's your stance on abortion? What you're trying to get at the heart of moral issues, and that's what the line of questioning is about.
Hey, I got some cops out here. I might be hopping off.
Okay, that's fine, Joe.
Shout out to you,
So let me
Natalie.
ask you. Let me ask you that. Okay, because that's what I was more aligned with earlier, right? I think we could all have preferences, and I'll get to this in just a second. Sasquatch, you would like to make your exit, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me. James, it was good to meet you. Joe, how's your wife and my kids? Even Lord, it's nice to see you. Anson, you need some road game. 10th man, get that dude. Try to knock him up. Rocky, love everything you do. Here's the point I want to make. The body count question seems to largely matter in club culture. Once you leave club culture, it's no longer as much of an issue as it is in club culture. So when you're looking for a woman that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, you're probably not going to find her down at the Hoochie Mamas clubs dancing on a table. Chances are that's not where she's at. I would advise, in general, to do something that whatever it is in your life that you do when you're in your private thoughts in your private space, go do that in public with people. Let them see how much you enjoy it. And someone will be like, hey, my cousin, my sister, my brother, my uncle, somebody out there also does that. And you'll go do that with a social structure that's actually extant, and you will stumble into love.